Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied. Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls.
The disease. And I'm the cure.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay. I'm going to kill them all, sir.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of Gimme Back My Action Movies, the podcast. I am one of our many hosts tonight, Charlie. With me, as always, is Nate. Say hello to the people, Nate.
Hello there.
There he is. And also with us on the other side of my screen, the one, the only, Pete.
What? Good evening, all. I'm so excited. Is this a special episode tonight?
This is a very special
might be.
episode.
I'm so excited.
This has been over 2 years in the making to get to this point.
Yeah.
And I know we've already announced it a couple episodes ago. This is our 100th episode.
Yeah! We did it, baby!
We made it
That's
past
it.
like the episode 7 hump that like some podcasts can
Right.
never get
Right. There's
like-
like the freshman 15 in college. There's like the podcasting 10 or something. Where
Yeah.
if you can get past 10 episodes of a podcast,
that alone's a feat.
right.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's
It's
huge.
something
It actually puts you in a fairly small
Elite.
percentile
Yeah.
of podcasting. So, hey, yeah, we're elite, like Pete said, just like in Hackers. We are elite now. So it's perfect, man. I
Well,
love it.
Gentlemen, I'm going to crack open a cold one.
Oh, Nate, that's beautiful. Hey, wait. I got one too. Hang on.
Now, mine
Oh.
is an energy drink
gotta
because
go
I'm not
find
allowed
that.
to drink beer right now.
I was getting ready to say, are we allowed to bust him out, Pete? Because I feel like
I was going with the bit, but if Nate
but
was
it was
to-
still a can that was opening,
That's right.
so you know that
Nate-
counts.
yeah,
And-
Nate
and-
exposed
And it's
himself.
late, and I'm drinking an energy drink, so that means I'm gonna be up all night partying.
Nate, do I remember right that you have insomnia? Stop drinking energy. That's why you have insomnia. You're drinking energy
You know
drinks.
what? That could possibly be something
Could.
that's causing.
Son, listen.
I never claimed to be a wise man.
Oh, I only want to help you,
Wow.
Nate, and this is not. So, episode
Yeah, but
100.
it tastes good tonight,
Yay.
boys.
that's right. Well, it's okay. Yeah, because we even moved the night we were recording our 100th so Nate could drink.
Yeah,
an
because I was like,
energy drink
yeah,
like
we're gonna
that.
get hammered and record this episode.
Uh,
And then I was reminded that I'm not allowed to drink right now.
but that's
I went,
okay, and I
Exactly.
am so happy that you realize that, and that we're not. We're not.
Oh, no,
crossing
no,
that
no.
bridge. Yeah,
I don't got a problem. Let's start out with that. I could
No,
party
no,
and
no, no.
rage hard. My
Yeah.
medicine's just like you're not allowed to do that right now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. And
Exactly.
I'm proud of you, you sweet little boy. Yeah, I'm so proud of you for not drinking tonight.
you know,
You're so
yeah.
good. I'll
That's
pinch your
right.
cheeks.
It's
But
all-
we can still celebrate that it's our 100th episode, not counting our interviews or
Right.
special occasion type
Straight
things that we've
movies.
done on here. Straight movie podcasting. This is episode 100, and there was no other movie even considered for the 100th.
I think
it
by
has been
episode
an- yeah.
50, it was
Yeah.
this.
It was.
Mhm.
It's always been decided that it was going to be Demolition Man.
Oh man. So, Demo Man, when you picked this, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I remember that one. I think I enjoyed that one. That might have been fun. And I start watching this damn movie. Oh my god, I love this movie. I'm so sad to have not had this in my life more often. Why hasn't this always been a part of my life? This movie's fabulous.
This movie has been a part of my life
Yeah, yes,
since I watched it when it
should
came
have
out
been
on
a part of mine.
VHS.
Oh,
This was I'm saying it now. I'm saying it at the beginning of the podcast here. This is probably my absolute favorite action movie of all time.
I will not fault you for that, sir.
I
Yes.
adore this movie. I have the poster behind me.
It's
I
always
have a
been there.
John Spartan
Yep.
action figure. I've owned this on every version of VHS, DVD. I have the Blu-ray. I even watched it on HBO last night just so I could just run the
Mhm.
entire gambit of how can I consume this movie. And God, it's so glorious. I love it. I love it so much.
I feel like this makes logical sense. You know, the podcast started out with a Chuck Norris movie,
Mhm.
the 100th episode being a Stallone. Personally, as much as I love Arnold, I think Stallone has the better catalog of action
I agree.
movies.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
agree.
I do. Now,
really?
I do think
I-
the ones that Arnold are in are really good. I just
Sure.
think he's got a
Iconic.
little bit more stinkers than what Stallone has.
I think Stallone's catalog's bigger too. I mean, honestly, he's got more range on what
Well, there
he's
was
done.
that whole time where he didn't become governor for a while.
Well, there was that,
And,
but
you know, Arnold did become president. I can't believe they elected that guy.
exactly. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Well, before we dig fully into this, let's just go ahead. Let's set the mood. Let's get this trailer going. And can I say this trailer you're about to hear? I smiled the entire time.
I have
so.
probably have not seen this trailer since 1993.
This is early 90s
Yeah.
trailer voice. It's
Early-
got to
early-
be the
Oh.
guy, the
Oh,
man.
Oh wait,
No?
just wait, Pete.
Okay,
just
all right.
wait.
Bring it on.
All
It
right,
better
I
be
wanna hear it.
Megatron then.
At the end of a century, ravaged by violence, a society of perfect order will arise. Criminals will be frozen and reprogrammed in cryogenic prisons.
The prisoners are ice cubes. Their criminal instincts are being reprogrammed as they sleep.
Aggression and deviant behavior will be totally eliminated.
He's a criminal the likes of which you have never seen. In a bad time, he was the worst.
I'm gonna love running this place.
But in the year 2032,
This morning, Simon Phoenix escaped from this cryo facility. We are, quite frankly, not equipped to deal with the situation.
amidst a world of peace and calm,
We're police officers. We're not trained for this kind of violence.
How was the fiendish Simon Phoenix apprehended back in the 20th?
In the end, it took just one man, John Spartan.
You mean the Demolition Man?
The conditions of your parole are full reinstatement into the SAPD and immediate assignment to the apprehension of Simon Phoenix.
Two mortal enemies
Just dropped in to say hi.
from another time.
Pass is over, John. Time for something new and improved.
Oh, hell. Will be unleashed on a future that isn't big enough for the both of them. Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Demolition Man.
We got
Wow.
British trailer guy.
British trailer guy.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't.
Me
I
neither.
didn't.
Till I
But-
watched this today.
I didn't
also-
think Brits watched movies back then.
But also listening to this, I would watch this trailer. I hate trailers. I hate them with a fiery passion of a 1,000 suns because they always give some shit away. This sounded like,
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality.
aha, I get the bit now. So
Well, how the hell are we going to pull this off?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality.
That's a place.
but this sounds like the perfect trailer where they tell you what the plot is without giving anything away. Wow, I love that. I don't remember
Hypes you up.
British guy being trailer whatever. Clearly,
Never
none of us
heard
did.
his voice before
Oh,
till
yeah.
I played that
Yeah,
today.
that's a new one.
I thought you had found some sort of a parody with Muppets or something, and I was kind of excited there for a minute. Like, oh,
I
want
would
to hear
love
Kermit
for
the Frog
that.
as Sly Stallone.
But it doesn't work in podcast. But I did send in our group chat that there is a Simon Phoenix Mentos.
Mentos,
commercial.
yeah, it was very
There
funny.
is.
When he's trying to get the guns in the museum, they play the Mentos song. It is so.
Na, na, na,
Go on
na,
YouTube,
na, na,
down,
na.
search Demolition Man Mentos, and it'll pop up. It's hilarious. I love it.
Oh,
But yeah, this is one of those trailers that just gets you amped up. There's
Yeah.
nothing spoiled. They don't go into super heavy detail about the plot, just enough that it's John Spartan versus Simon Phoenix. And they build those two guys up, and that's it. Nothing else is ruined in the trailer. Unlike Hackers, where you got the whole movie.
the whole damn
Yeah,
movie.
completely
right in
described to
front of
you.
You are fined 1
Son of a
credit for
bitch.
violation of the verbal
Oh,
You are fined 1
Okay.
credit for
All
violation
All right,
of
Pete,
the
you
verbal
got to be on
rights.
good behavior
do I
tonight.
have a literal swear jar? Because I might go bankrupt here.
I thought it worked a little bit better than the gun. So
It works pretty good.
you know how hard it was to find an actual clean rip of just that. There's so much ambient noise around
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon Phoenix cussing it out. Then you have Stallone cussing it out, literally using
Well,
the
he had
word
to poop,
duck.
so that makes sense.
He had to poop, so
Yeah.
him saying duck definitely.
You are fined 1 credit for violation of the
If I gotta poop, I'm saying duck all the time. All good night.
You are fined 1
I don't know how I'm going to clean all that up, but I'll figure it out.
Just do the.
We've lost Pete.
Oh,
Pete is not
my
going to be able to
God.
survive in the future where you're not allowed to cuss and you can only eat Taco Bell.
Right?
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I
If I can
wouldn't
only
be able
eat
to
Taco
survive in
Bell
this.
and I don't have paper in the toilet, there's going to be a lot of cussing.
Man.
Well, speaking of Taco Bell, you know how we usually have our little bits that we like to sprinkle in through the episode, and you guys have just teed this up perfectly that I'm going to hit you all up with my homework assignment I gave you guys.
Oh,
What restaurant would you have wanted to win the franchise wars?
Now, I feel like this has to be a fast food restaurant, right?
I think it can't be like fine dining. If you want to say like
Right.
Applebee's, that's fine. But
it needs to
Oh,
be
God,
something
if
that.
Applebee's wins, I'm killing myself.
Yeah, right. But it needs to be something like kind of everybody knows, right?
right, yeah. It
Okay,
can't be
all
like
right.
some mom and pop diner you've only ever heard of
Mhm,
once.
mhm.
Like it needs to be like, because it has to be a franchise. I guess that's part of the franchise wars.
Yeah.
Is
Like,
what
and it must have
one?
been pretty
Yeah.
brutal.
I've
Yeah, it
got
had to-
mine.
I got mine.
I've got mine.
Okay. Well, all right, guys, go ahead. Nate, go ahead and give me yours.
Nate, give
All
it.
right. So, there are times where you're wanting Taco Bell and you
Mhm.
realize you're about to go drop $14 on Taco Bell.
Oh,
Right.
Oh,
But-
that's a lot of food.
Then you realize it is, or
Used
is
to
it?
be.
Because their prices have gone up.
It
Oh,
used to be a
have
lot
they?
of
So
food.
then
I
you
didn't
go,
realize
you know
that.
what?
Okay.
I want something similar, but I want better quality.
Oh.
And so then you drive your ass to Chipotle and spend the
You are
$14.
fined 1 credit for
Okay.
violation of the verbal rights.
Chipotle's approved. It's
So
Chip-
Chipotle would be mine. And
Okay.
when they win this, they don't charge you extra for guac. They've won. They don't have to charge you
It's
extra
because-
anymore.
right.
Guac is a healthy fat.
Exactly.
Mm,
There
Yeah.
you go.
true.
Yeah.
True.
And-
All right.
They have chips that are never stale anymore. That's not allowed to happen anymore because there's nothing
'Cause-
worse when you go to Chipotle, specifically because you really want the chips, and it turns out they A, forget to give you the bag of chips, or B, the bag is stale.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't order
Chipotle.
online.
If
It's
you
always
could
the
pick,
worst.
if you could pick a fast food franchise, Chipotle tries very hard to be as locally sourced as possible. So that's
Yeah,
even though
they
I
don't
think
use
they're still
GMOs.
owned by McDonald's, but they or the parent company of McDonald's owns them. But they do locally sourced. So there's a lot of good things going on with Chipotle.
I just
So
picture Ray Kroc walking into a Chipotle
Right,
now, like,
right.
stealing it from Mr.
Stuff
Chipotle.
is all this.
You are fined 1 credit for
Yep.
violation
Yep.
of the
It's all I can do to. I kind of want to hear as many times I felt like I was behind.
I see what
In
happens.
I was behind in
I
the
see
Nightmare on Elm
what's going on.
Street. I didn't say
Yeah.
enough bitches in Nightmare on Elm
I
Street. I think
so many times in Nightmare on Elm Street that I lapped both of you bitches, and that now that's why Pete is trying to get as much bitch in as he possibly can, because you know what? You can't outcuss this guy.
Okay.
Can't be done.
I think now it's just a challenge to see if I miss one or something. So
Yeah.
like I thought this was gonna be funny. I'd have to hit the button a couple times tonight, and I've probably already hit it 10
but
times.
you know what?
Yeah.
He's
in
like a
10
child
minutes.
over there where he finds out that the thingy makes a noise on the doorstop and he keeps pressing it.
Yep,
That's a good way to put it. I
that's
like-
true.
Oh, yeah.
Guilty, right?
So,
Okay, so
all
I'll
right,
go
Pete,
next.
what's your restaurant
Yeah.
you want to win the franchise
Uh,
awards?
I like Nate's a lot, but I'm gonna go with Buffalo Wild Wings and Whack or BW3s. That's a national chain. People know that. Or if there are other chains like that are wing places, and the best thing about BW3s is that they have a variety of food on their menu, but they don't go too far where there you've got like pizzas, Reubens, steaks, and salads. They do sandwiches and wings, and there you go. That's all you get. So they do a small menu well versus a catalog like the old TGI Fridays had a Bible, and I'm not kidding, a Bible
right.
of food that you could have.
There's
And it
3
was
pages of
all
appetizers.
right. It was all very average because they didn't specialize in any one thing.
Yep.
Where I think BW3s was really good at doing sandwiches. Like, okay, here's a slider, here's a chicken slider, here's a
I
here's
mean, I
a
feel like
wing.
they're better at doing wings, but
that I will disagree with. I remember going to them when we were in college, and we would actually get meat on the bones. And BW3 anymore is gristle on the bones. It's disgusting. I don't recommend BW3's wings, even though that's what put them on the map.
I am very, very puzzled by his entire choice right now, Charlie.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
and I go like almost every Thursday for work, we go and do lunch at B Dubs.
Yeah.
I like B Dubs for that part because it's a $10 lunch.
Yeah.
But then there was one time when I was super hammered and I really wanted a cheeseburger. Now I
Mhm.
wasn't going to drive because I'm a smart boy. And so we door dashed, burgers.
Mhm.
And we door dashed White Castle and it got canceled. I don't know why it got canceled. So then we found a place on the DoorDash called
delivery guy was too
Wild
high.
Burger. It was called Wild Burger. And we're like, well, that sounds great. That sounds amazing. We should get that. And then it arrives, and it turns out it was burgers from B-Dubs, and I've never been so mad in my entire life that I got a burger from B-Dubs that tasted terrible while being completely hammered. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny though.
So my
I like
choice
that.
is better. I declare
I
that I've
agree,
already
agree.
won the franchise war.
With the limited variety and the quality of food that comes out of there. Yeah,
You picked a
the
wing
B-Dubs.
place and don't like their wings. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't like their wings. I could do Frickers, but no one knows Frickers. That's a
I love
local-
Frickers.
I know, but it's a local joint.
Yeah, it's local, guys. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
is it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys in California. You should really try Frickers when you come to
Yeah,
Ohio.
Frickers is pretty good.
222 drafts. It's great.
Charlie, what you got, man?
Well, you guys really took this homework a lot more
Very
serious than
seriously. I
thought
like
you were
food.
going
Hey,
to.
I like my food.
I went a different route because I like the joke of Taco Bell in this movie, because it's fine dining. So I kind of wanted to stay in that vein, and I picked Long John Silver's.
Hush puppies! Yes!
I want to see that everyone has to wear like pirate outfits, but they're fancy looking. And I want like this elegant dining experience in these nautical themed restaurants.
And it always has that greasy smell.
Always. Even if it's
yes.
healthy and grease is outlawed, it still smells like
You
it
walk into
somehow.
the restaurant and the floor's a little slippery, no matter
Oh, yeah,
how
yeah.
much they mop it,
Oh,
because
it
there's
doesn't-
so much oil in the air. Like,
I worked
you
at
get
one for
pimples just
several
walking in the
years.
front door.
Yeah, I worked there for several years. So
Oh
I'm
no!
yeah, I'm well
Oh,
versed with
son.
Long John Silver's.
Now, the few times I've been to Long John Silver's, and that was a very long time ago, the oil is always very clean, and I would imagine that was something a point of pride for those restaurants to
So
keep that oil as clean as possible.
all right. I'll
And
let
there's a
y'all
big
in.
difference between clean oil and dirty oil when it comes to frying things. I can tell.
I will let you all in on a little bit of behind the curtain. Is we usually had like anywhere from 7 to 8 fryers in a line.
Because that's all you did. That's all it was.
Everything was fried or
Yeah.
microwaved, or
Right.
you got like the wraps or something. So it
Mhm.
was all like dished out. The very end fryer is where new oil went, and as you used it, the oil moved down the line. So at the
Oh.
end of the night, you would cycle all of the oil down. And it was actually only every couple days. The darker of the oil was for
Mhm.
hush puppies, French fries, stuff like that, because it darkened the oil.
Mhm.
Everything else in between. So if you notice, like, oh, this one seems really light and yellowy and battery, that was in the newer oil, or someone didn't give a
Okay.
shit. And
You are
they
fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
it got
I'm not
done
gonna
in
get
a
tired of that.
darker oil, and then once the hush puppy oil was beyond use, you dumped it, moved all the oil down the line,
Mhm.
threw a new oil in the other vat. So
Okay.
that's the magic behind Long John Silver's. I'd tell you more, but y'all don't want to know that.
No,
Now,
no,
I do have a related restaurant story that is connected to this movie.
Oh,
okay. I was
Yes.
gonna say we got to bring it back to the movie
Were
here. in a
you,
minute.
We
did you-
do,
did
and
you
I
pass-
do.
How many Taco Bell parking lots have you passed out at, Nate? Or is
I
that
don't
a
wanna
different
talk
story?
about it. I've also passed out in the middle of eating Taco Bell after a Kiss concert.
In the restaurant?
No, we made it home.
Oh, okay. Mm.
At least he made
I
it home.
spent way too much money on alcohol and Taco Bell that night.
Shocking.
Right?
You're at a
That's what
Kiss
Kiss
concert.
does. Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Kiss raped you for all the money in your wallet.
You are fined
I don't
1
know if that
credit
counts
for a
or not.
violation of the
I'm
verbal
counting
morality
it.
standard.
Okay.
I'm
all
actually
right.
surprised
You
Pete
know what?
used
It
that
walks
type
the line.
that type of paint a picture word.
Anyway.
Yeah,
But-
That's
okay,
fair.
I was
That's
more
fair.
shocked
I'm all right.
by that one.
I believe the year.
I'm gunshotting it. That's all.
The
All right,
year
Nate,
was
what's your story?
1997.
Oh, you were young, Nate.
You were 11.
Very young Nate. We
No,
had a
you were
9-year-old
9.
Nate. Yeah.
9, yeah.
Oh, Charlie's
My
not good at
family-
math.
My math good.
We had family up in Minnesota. We had drove up there to visit them. First time I'd ever been to Minnesota. Whatever. Shut up. This is my story. I'll tell you how I want. I got the lucky privilege to eat at one Planet Hollywood. Back in the day.
really?
Oh.
Yes. I, for one, loved the Planet Hollywood food. I only got to have it once my entire life,
Mhm.
but damn it, it was so cool. Being 9 years
You are
old,
fined 1
Yeah.
credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
It's just keep going.
but having the movie props there and just like
Yeah.
all this movie memorabilia and me being just a total nerd at that age.
Mhm.
And we get placed because, we had a rather large party on one of the long center tables.
Mhm.
And what happens to be above us, gentlemen?
Was it
Please tell me
Stallone
it's
in the ice
Frozen
cube?
Stallone.
It was Stallone naked in the ice cube with paper
Yeah.
towels covering his junk.
Yep.
That
So
has
you-
forever stayed with me.
So you ordered the hot dog, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what I
Because you
had,
were
man,
like,
it
you're
was
like,
great.
I want a hot
That
dog.
Stallone, beefy. But it
All
cracks me
beef
up.
hot
That
dog.
was a movie prop that they had in the Planet Hollywood back in the
Yeah.
day.
That
Yeah.
and if I'm correct, that is the prop from Demolition Man. They didn't remake a bunch of those. I think there was only one done, and they used it in the Planet Hollywoods.
Did it rotate Planet Hollywoods or something, or there was just in one?
I don't know if it rotated around them, but I don't, because Lord, could you imagine what it would cost to remake that thing? Like
Right.
that was a real
you
life
imagine
cast.
what
Right, real life
of-
cast. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the shipping alone. So that's very possible
Well,
you saw the prop.
To to ship
Demolition
that would be a lot cheaper than to recast it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Unless they kept the cast of Stallone, and then someone's got a Stallone penis out there.
Yeah.
A potential to. Anyway, I'll skip that joke.
Pete's just digging his way into that.
He
man.
is
Jesus.
like, there's that shovel and there's that hole. It's weird. So like for me, like I had already seen Demolition Man at that point. Like I saw this movie pretty young.
Oh yeah,
It was
so you
just-
knew what that meant. Yep.
Yeah, I was fascinated
That's
with this
cool.
movie. Like it was just the idea of the future. This also is a rare case where this was an action movie my mom liked, you know? Like,
Oh,
because it had like that comedy to it and just like
it did.
you know,
Yep.
having Taco Bell, the 3 seashells, the way they have sex, you know, it's just like there's enough
Right.
here to like keep really anyone entertained. And
Right.
honestly, it's been a while since I've seen this, and like I've been wanting to watch it for a long time now, but we kept talking about, well, this is gonna be episode 100. I was like, well, I'm gonna hold off because I want, you know, to experience it.
Oh, I
with,
don't.
you know,
I don't hold off. I watch this
that
movie any
lens.
chance I get.
And-
Like, I didn't need to watch this movie
Sure,
last
sure, of
night.
course you
I
didn't. Yeah.
wanted to watch this movie last
Uh-huh.
night. I'm
was-
repeating the lines at nauseum till Jackie got tired and went to bed. You know, so it was just like
Go to
I-
bed. Shut up.
I can't not smile when I watch this movie. This is it, man. Like we've talked about it. We still haven't like sat down and done this, but if there was a checklist for action movies, this one ticks every single box there is. There was something about this one that when it came out, this was one of those dad watched it 1st.
Mhm.
Then he's like, okay, this was an immediate, like, yeah, you can watch this.
Mhm.
And to my knowledge, dad didn't even bother skipping anything in here because, you know, the nip slip in this movie so fast and the
It's-
telephone call, you really need to be paying it. And we
Paying
didn't have
attention.
widescreen on a 65-inch TV.
No.
So like, I didn't know there were boobs in the sex virtual scene till I
definitely.
watched this in high
Oh,
def.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch that either.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
On VHS on a little 27-inch
Mhm.
Yeah,
monitor,
Mhm.
there's no boobs.
Terrible
watch it-
brightness.
You watch it
27. Boy, you're right in high
H-
country.
HD. It was on a Snap-on toolbox.
I
sir.
do
We
love
were definitely high country.
Seeing that scene, you're like, FaceTime videos. This movie invented it, you know?
Yes.
It did. This movie did a lot of predictions.
It's cool to
that
see those
is-
type of predictions.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of this was scary, much like The Simpsons. The Simpsons is really good at, terrifyingly good at predicting the future, and I think this one did a pretty good job of keeping it realistic enough and not too like there were flying cars everywhere. I mean, they predicted
No, they were
electric cars.
they were in electric cars. Like now there's this
Yeah,
big push
right.
for electric cars.
And they were only looking like 40 years out. Like, well, so this took place. I mean, it was 1996. Or yeah, we're right. 90, whatever year it was. So, but they did an interesting job, or it was fascinating to watch how they were predicting the future, and they weren't going over the top. They were just
No.
kind of like there were trends happening in the world, and they just kind of like, okay, we're not going to go the crazy thing was the cryogenics, right? I mean, like
and that was in 96 though. I mean, think about that. They
Right.
froze them in 96, so that was like already happening. So it's
It was-
kind of wild.
it was-
you know.
I
That-
mean,
that
we
was-
kind of freeze like tiny little people. You catch my drift.
I don't know if I should beep that or not. What?
I don't know. I don't know either. So, I mean, you
know,
had
Little swimmers. They could be
Oh,
frozen.
oh yes. But in sci-fi,
that is
it
not
was-
what I thought he was talking
right.
about.
I didn't know where he was going with that
Come
either.
on, guys.
Wow.
I
Okay.
can't tell you how many times I've been turned down at the sperm bank. It's just
Well,
They
that's because you
don't-
keep going there naked.
they don't. Oh,
Like that's the problem.
is that?
You're all oiled up and naked.
No.
and
You
they
can't
catch you.
bring it in ready to go. You
Yeah.
have to do it there.
You may think it's romantic to keep it in a little glass vial, but other people find that disturbing.
I can't bring a bucket of my.
I was gonna
God,
say,
you got a bucket?
I was gonna say
Who
Tupperware,
doesn't?
but damn it, man.
Tupperware.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal
What were
morale.
we talking about here?
About how they like predicted stuff.
Yeah, so
and
they predicted FaceTime and they predicted electric cars. They predicted
Yeah.
self-driving cars, which wasn't necessarily out of the realm of possibility.
no, it was believable.
It
No,
was
like, this was all
it was
stuff that-
being developed at the time. It wasn't clearly was not a thing in 1996, 7, whatever it was, but it was definitely being worked on. It was like, oh, we have the technology, we just need to develop it. And that was I thought they did a real good job of being futuristic, but not going over the top. There wasn't giant skyscrapers and flying cars and
It's not Fifth
jetpacks.
Element.
Right.
But I think the big thing too, and what's crazy now because of it being 2023 and you're watching this movie, and the movie takes place in 2032, like that's not far off. And it's like, well, we're definitely not going to
No,
be.
We're
where
9
they're
years
at
away.
in the movie, but that feels so strange, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
from when this movie came out and the way it's predicting a short look ahead into the future,
Right.
and the things that it got right and the things that it's gotten so wrong, which is funny, but it's like, well, who's to say that another 27 years from now,
Right. I don't
wouldn't
know
be a
how.
possibility?
I don't know if they got anything really wrong outside of some of the science. Like again, I'll go back to the cryogenics. That's not something that's been developed
It's
in a
but
degree
it's being
it's
explored.
also
It's
being
being
explored for
tested.
sure. Right. I
Uh,
mean, Walt Disney has been cryogenically.
I'm just saying, if you're
yeah.
gonna make me get it
Isn't
on
that a
while
thing?
wearing a VR headset, I'm gonna be a little upset.
Tell me that's not happening now.
They
Tell
predicted
me
a VR
that's not
set.
happening now.
What,
Okay,
VR
I
sets?
mean,
there's
it is to
VR.
an extent.
Absolutely, there is.
There
Exactly.
is, yes.
Nate,
I'm just
my
saying, if that
friend.
were to replace
Nate.
the physical
replace.
act, I'm not gonna be too happy.
Okay, so with COVID happening, there was a lot of virtual sex going on. I would imagine that this isn't too terribly far off.
Right.
You,
Well, I
however
mean,
you want to
even-
say
even-
it, the porn industry is a leader in media. They push things forward. They pushed forward the VHS tape. They pushed forward the DVD. If it's
Are you
if the
saying that
porn
porn is the
business-
only reason that humans have been able to make it this far?
it's the biggest reason the internet is a thing today. I'm telling you, man.
It is responsible. Well, no, the Janet Jackson nip slip is responsible for YouTube.
Okay, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that is
But
like the guys that
I-
made YouTube went. Wouldn't it be cool if you had a video to rewatch that?
to
And they
rewatch it
went,
over and over again.
Yeah, YouTube.
So anyway, it
But I mean, what you
doesn't
were
surprise
just-
me at all that
What you were saying about the COVID stuff too, because she lists like the diseases that led up
right.
Yeah,
to the
she's like,
decisions they made.
bodily transfusions.
Mhm.
But here's my only thing that has always had been a question in my mind about this movie. They're in San Angeles, which is the blending of San
Mhm.
Francisco, Los Angeles
And Los
because
Angeles.
of the big earthquake. But Dr. Cocteau is the one that's in charge of everything and set everything forward. But that's just in that city.
That's
They
my
never
question. Yeah.
say
That was the other
he's-
thing. What's it
that
like in
it's-
Ohio?
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
What's the rest of the country look like? Does the rest of the country look like Escape from New York? You know, are there
Because
mega cities like
They
Judge Dredd?
mentioned there was a big earthquake, which
Yeah.
makes sense because of the fault line on California.
So it's
But,
like now
the
is
places
California an
that-
island?
Yeah,
I mean, that's one way to look at it.
and
But
like you have this religious leader, you know, that's our
he's so very much
Our
what do you
villain.
call those?
It's a fascist dictatorship. Is
Yeah,
kind of what
yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
it's disgusting, is what it
a
is.
zealot. Is that what the word?
It's like
I'm
a
looking for?
zealot.
Zealot?
Yeah.
Zealot.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to say it.
No, you're fine. But that was just always been one of the questions in the back of my head because it's like it's not like they made all these electric cars. That has to be happening elsewhere
Yeah.
in the world. But yet, is the rest of the world as stringent on the morality codes?
Right.
Because they literally said it was because of Dr. Cocteau. The other thing that was always kind of amusing to me is watching this, and it is like a 40-year leap, but there are definitely some older people there that know what the world was like.
And
Like
that's
the
the other
world
thing
didn't
that's strange.
change as soon as Stallone went into the ice. You know,
Mhm.
it wasn't like the next day. There was a transitional period, but
It
yet
happened
these
in
people,
2010. So then you're only talking 22 years later
right?
for it to get to where it's at. And like what's
And even
crazy
that
is
would have
like
took time.
yeah, like
Mhm.
Benjamin Bratt's character, Sandra Bullock's character, like they have no
They have
recollection.
no
So it's like
knowledge of
they're
it.
clearly like supposed to be in their early 20s
That's what
and
I took
like
that as.
But
Sandra
they would have
Bullock,
been weirdly, they would have been born at that time or
they would have been born
recently after.
as it's happening kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Right.
And
Yeah,
which
that's
feels like you would still have, you know, when you're 8, you have those like brief moments of memorying a
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
bit. Like
Yeah.
Charlie and I were having this conversation today of like Waco in our
Mhm.
group chat of
Oh,
just
wow.
like what it was like. And it's like, I don't remember it. I was too young, you know?
Yeah.
But
There
then
was
you have
like
that
all
snippets
these.
of like, I remember the OJ trial kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And I feel like these characters would have that same thing. But like Sandra Bullock's got like a Lethal Weapon 3 poster in the
I
background.
love
Like
that
she's
poster.
Right.
I love her
obsessed
office.
with like the 90s. Yeah. Her office is essentially what Charlie's office looks like right now.
You're not far.
Yeah.
No, it's
And like there's
pretty accurate.
something fascinating about it because the movie is playing retro even though it's currently happening while the movie's being made. Does that
And
make sense?
it's retro in the future now.
Yeah.
It's very it's well done. Period. Like
Yep.
I
Yes.
buy it all. And what I'm talking, this comes from someone who has watched this movie literally countless times. That I've tried to find all the little answers to everything, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
it's not there, and it doesn't take away from the movie at all. These questions we're asking take nothing away from this movie, but it was
100%.
just
Yes.
one of those things where you're just like, I really want to kind of break this down a little bit because it is so damn close to being
You are fined
prophetic,
1 credit for
you know.
violation
Right.
of the verbal morality standard.
And I was laughing at, you know, the when Simon Phoenix blows up the electric car. He's going for pure capacitance gel. I mean, we got lithium batteries that they're scared to death of when they catch fire and
Mhm.
explode. You know, so it's the looking up information at the kiosk when Simon Phoenix is trying to find the gun. You know, it's like, okay, that we have phones now that we do all that
Yep.
on, but in the early 90s, what was going to replace phone booths? Computer kiosks.
Yep.
That was going to replace what a phone booth, which is what we knew we had. That was the natural progression of our thought process then. But it's not that far off though. It's still computer, tell me where this place is. How do I find the museum? How do I find Radio Shack?
Oh, spot
We
on.
all
Yep.
do that now with our phones.
And it's even
It's
crazier
right.
like you think about it and like it's a depressing thought, but like Dennis Leary being part of like the underground people who, you know, weren't willing to accept the ways of society and kind of like went into the underground, right?
Right.
Mhm.
The same thing happens in Vegas where people move to Vegas thinking this will be the once in a lifetime chance, score big, all these opportunities. It doesn't happen because of how expensive that place is and it's a tourist trap. That's
Yep.
what it does. And there's literally tunnels underneath the city for the rainwater to run to be away from the strip. You know, the city has invested millions into this and it's filled with people living in those
No
tunnels.
kidding. I
Yeah,
had no
it
idea.
is
Oh,
a
yeah.
very
That's
interesting
so sad.
phenomenon where
Oof.
yeah, like people just like where they get a divorce, they just drive to Vegas, then they never get a place, and
Yeah.
they just find that there's this community that lives underneath there that, you know, you don't mess with their stuff, they don't mess with you kind of thing, and then they come out at night
Wow.
for, you know, I don't want to say grifting, but you know, trying to get
No, it's
some
surviving.
money, you know? Yeah,
Surviving.
exactly, and
They're
that's it.
scraps.
So
But
like even to that extent, this movie does get that right, which does
Mhm.
feel uncomfortable.
which lends itself more to where I believe that where they are is somewhat cut off from the mainland.
It feels
Because
like that. Yeah.
why not? If
Mhm.
you're you either steal or you starve, that means you don't have an option to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
You know, that's off the table. So they have to survive there in San Angeles. And who knows how big, you know, you're talking about two major cities that they have combined
And
basically.
those cities aren't necessarily close.
No, so I'm guessing it is a fairly
It's
large.
a large.
Yeah.
It's a small state.
But it kind of makes more sense that because God, I remember it was always talked about like it was only going to take so many more earthquakes, and literally California was going to split off at the borderline somehow, and then it was going to end up in the ocean.
I don't think that's not a thing anymore. I think
Yeah, it's
that's
still
the
a
San Andreas
possibility,
Fault
but
is still a thing.
It's still there, but I'm saying,
I mean, have you seen A View to a Kill? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole premise of A View to a
I
Kill.
mean, I just remember it being like beat into our heads when we were
yeah,
younger.
like quicksand and,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
scorpions and piranha,
It's like
right?
one day it's gonna float away. It's like that's really not how that's gonna work.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, I take it at that. But anyway, so but that's the history of, you know, kind of the setting of Demolition Man. So let's just get into Demolition Man.
Yeah,
Have we not
gotta talk
been-
about why
Oh my
this
God.
movie works.
There's
and
so
it's your
much to
two
talk about.
leads.
Where do we start?
Well,
I
you
think
start.
you start
I
with-
say you start at the beginning with that amazing action sequence
And
that starts this whole thing off.
It is
man.
a set piece. Like you can
Yes.
tell.
That's not a set piece. That's
that
a
is
real
a s-
building that they blowed up.
Oh, yeah.
It's a building that they used as a set.
But it
like, they
has
built
such
all that.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's
Yeah.
what you mean.
It
I'm
has
sorry.
such a blockbuster feel of him bungee jumping down, landing, shooting these guys, like the explosions. Like you are watching the blueprints to an action movie.
Yes. Send a maniac
100%.
to catch one.
And I
love it.
I love the whole like bungee into a war zone is there I think I feel like I've said this a lot lately on this podcast. Is there a more 90s thing than bungee jumping into a war zone?
we talk a lot about, you know, like what the real 90s look like compared to this, but as far as action movies go, this is
Yeah.
the most 90s action.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
for sure.
believe there
I
is.
would say maybe this and Last Action Hero are like
You got a
two
great point.
definitions.
But Last Action Hero was a farce. Was
Yeah,
a, was
it's
a
more of a
parody.
parody
but,
of
and
what
this
it's become.
of the Last Action Hero was a parody of Demolition Man, kind of, sort of. You know,
Pretty
not
close.
necessarily the plot points, but the ridiculousness of the action, the bombacity of the action of the
Yeah.
90s. It was,
But,
over the
I
top
mean,
and delightful.
I love how we don't need a backstory for anything. We don't need a backstory for Phoenix. We don't need a backstory for Spartan. We get it as the story progresses.
Right in the middle of it. Here's the
And-
antagonist. Here's the protagonist. Boom.
Boom,
Go.
here we go. You can tell that it's a, you know, two men enter, one man leave scenario. They walk in. It is an amazing the only bullshit thing
You are fined 1
that
credit for a violation of
if
the
you
verbal
hold a
arrest
torch that close to liquid gasoline, it's gonna ignite anyway. It doesn't have to touch the liquid. The vapor's explosive.
Right.
And you can't set it off with a cigarette either. Thanks,
Ru-
Mythbusters, for
th-
ruining
I-
all of my
I got
action
that right
movies.
there on my notes.
was gonna say-
That's not a thing. Not a thing.
That was one thing I wish they'd never
Like,
tested. That's
but-
all that
But that happened a lot in the 80s and 90s. Setting
that
off
was
the
how you
gasoline with a
ignited.
cigarette butt. Yep.
you ignited explosives with a cigarette because it was cool. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
A Zippo, maybe, but not a cigarette butt.
Yes, but not a cigarette. So
Mhm.
no, Mythbusters. No.
I've been a cigar guy myself because of Dark
Oh.
Man, where you
Yeah.
get to cut people's fingers off with a cigar
Yes.
cutter, which is also why I'm terrified of cigar cutters and don't use them and let my friends cut my cigars for me.
Oh, that's okay, Nate.
It's a real fear.
I bite the end of it off. I do the Schwarzenegger style.
You're
where
a man's man for
you
sure.
bite the end of that cigar off and you smoke. I do like
the
that.
opening of this movie is so much fun for me because it feels like Batman and Joker.
Yes.
This is an anti-hero and a chaotic evil villain going toe to toe. They are mortal enemies. And hey, Wesley Snipes, if you want to play the Joker, I'm okay with that. I thought his joy, his
unhinged.
Right, of just the complete chaos that's going around him, he fed off of that. It was wonderful. Even later on in the movie, when the alarms go off at the museum, he's like, "Oh, music to my ears" or something. He says, and it's just he feeds off of the chaos that he creates. He gets off on it. That's what fuels his soul. That's what he's going for.
I think
so much fun to watch. He just does it marvelously.
I think you nailed it on the head right there, because that is one thing that I think you really kind of get from his character as Simon Phoenix. While he is trying to kill John Spartan, that's not his end goal.
Oh no.
Otherwise, he would have just set up a trap, blew up the building, and not even been in there. He has to antagonize. Ultimately, he wanted John to get blamed for the dead people that we find out later were already dead in the building. And he even makes a comment like, I had a 30-year grin on my face knowing I got you sent to jail, prison for something you didn't do. And it's like, he never really wanted to kill John Spartan. He just wanted to mess with him
It
so
is
bad.
a Batman and Joker relationship now, which is very strange too, because when you think about it, not many other action movies like this have it to where, you have a main bad guy and good guy that clearly have this sort of history with one another.
They can't exist without one another.
And
right.
I also realized when rewatching this movie through the adult lens, I'm like, this is just spy versus spy. I mean, it literally is, because you can't have these two guys kill each other. So they're constantly getting into battles with each other throughout the movie. And it does come off. I'm like, this is spy versus spy. Like, they're just setting up elaborate traps for one another.
Black spy, white spy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It was cracking me up so much. And it works because this movie just knows to have fun. This movie isn't like
This
First
isn't like
Blood Part 2.
Cobra.
Yeah, exactly. Where you have this
Yeah.
dark grit. No, it's a prototype to the comic book movies to come, where this is
really
an original
such-
IP that is clearly inspired by pulpy comic books of the 80s. And this makes so much sense why Stallone got to be Dredd, 3 years later.
Yeah.
This feels like the perfect precursor to a Judge Dredd movie being made.
This is, you're right, Nate. This is a comic book on film. Before there were comic book films,
We had some, but we're talking about Batman.
Right. There were some musical cues back that rotated back to the Danny Elfman. Batman.
I heard Batman in this movie.
There was a lot
Even
of
the
Batman
trailer,
going on in this movie.
The trailer, I
Right.
kept going, is that the Batman
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
And they
it-
just
it-
they did the whole
yeah, they-
Vanilla Ice thing. No, it's not din 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 din. din. It's
yeah,
ding ding ding
exactly.
ding ding ding.
Yep. But like you said, this is a comic book, a cartoon. There was a lot of cartoon going on in this film. Like the first time the San Andreas police force, whatever,
the SAPD.
PD, yeah.
Yeah.
When they encounter Simon Phoenix
Oh
the
my
very first
God.
time, listen to the soundtrack.
Mhm.
It is as Looney Tunes as it gets, and it was marvelous. I mean, there were tweets, and there were boings, and there were zowies. There was
really
all
were.
sorts of. I'm not
Olay!
exaggerating that. Olay, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And even later on in the film, Simon Phoenix goes. He got knocked in the head or something. It goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shakes
come on.
it off,
It's clearly
man.
It
meant
is
to be.
damn close to Roger Rabbit here going on.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I think they walked a thin line where if they had gone one way or the other, it would have been completely ridiculous or too very serious. And I think these little pieces of levity really took some of the horrors of this movie
That's
off of people's shoulders and made it much more digestible to the populace.
that was one of the things I wanted to bring up of why I think this is probably one of the greatest action movies. It's like, and I love some dark, gritty action movies. I love my fun, goofy action movies.
It's
'cause
all
there are
about your
plenty of
mood,
those.
you know?
Yep.
It really is. But this is one of those, and
It's got
why
it both.
it sticks with me so well is you're exactly right, Pete. They found the line and they walked it perfectly to blend everything I want in an action. I want awesome one-liners. I want a tad bit of self-awareness in it. I also
Yeah.
still want some brutal violence and fights, and there's not much. There is some gore in this movie, but not like horror movie gore. I mean, he does take a dude's eyeball out.
Bitchin' fights.
I
got it.
One credit for a violation of the verbal
I'm going to owe so much money at the end of this
You
podcast.
really are, but at least it's only one credit. We don't really know how much that's worth in the current
Well,
currency.
I got to think about the credits later on.
But so it was one of those things of this movie was just able to dip its toes on both ends of the spectrum, from dark to lighthearted, and this movie was actually cut too. I found out, like,
Oh,
they
really?
filmed Wesley Snipes taking the doctor's eyeball out.
I liked it more though of just seeing that reveal. I like that a lot.
That was way more impactful
because I remember just as a kid being like, "That can happen."
It was shocking. Like,
yeah.
Holy crap, that eyeball's out there. They filmed him killing the doctor in the parking lot to get his car. I like it better this way that, that made it more impactful that there was this system tracking people for the murder, death, kill, the MDK. And so all of a sudden that would pop, that alarm would go off, and then it went to the computer screen showing the dead body outline. And I was like, I like this so much more than doing the gore, but it's still a freaking violent movie.
Oh, no,
This
definitely.
is a very violent movie at its core.
He throws a man through glass just to get weapons, which does lead to one of my favorite parts where after Wesley Snipes has, gathered up his shotguns and stuff, he's like, wait a minute, this is the future. Where's all the high-tech weapons at,
Where's the phaser guns?
Yeah, like, that's clearly something we would all do. Like, hold on. Wait, whoa.
Yeah. He also goes, sorry about this, Rambo, but I need this.
Yeah.
He drops the Rambo name in
There's
there.
Rambo, Schwarzenegger, and Jackie Chan references in this movie, and it was wonderful.
And Jackie Chan was actually first picked.
He was supposed to be Wesley Snipes.
Wesley
Or
Snipes.
The other way.
Yeah. Simon
Which
Phoenix.
Stallone has always had a very loving, like, I don't want to say tribute, but respect for Jackie Chan.
Oh,
like,
yeah, they're friends.
If you
the
don't,
opening to
you're a
Tango and
small
Cash.
person. If you don't love Jackie Chan, you're wrong.
The opening to Tango and Cash when he is shooting at the RV.
Oh yeah,
that's a tribute to Police Story when Jackie Chan does the same exact thing.
Yep.
Why have we done Police Story, fellas?
Like, why? Yeah, we need to do that one. But it's a damn shame we never got a Stallone and Jackie Chan movie.
You are fined one
That is a
credit for
damn
violation
shame.
of the verbal
Damn
rights.
it.
You
I
are
can do
fined
this
one
all day,
credit
guys.
for a violation
You
of the
really
verbal
could.
rights.
Is Jackie
The
going to tell me how
episode
much
is
money I
actually
owe
gonna
you?
be-
I should put a dollar value to this.
The episode's gonna be 10 minutes of just that audio, so that's why it's gonna be longer than what it should be.
Right.
Probably, yeah. Well, speaking of longer than it should be, I do believe it's about time for us to take a quick commercial
I was
break.
gonna say that's what she said.
Oh, you did it right. I was thinking for a joke. and
That's
you-
also what she said.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
What? I'm just pointing out things that she may have said.
She's never said that to me.
You are fined one credit for a violation
I
of
just
the verbal
charged you a
rights.
credit just because I wanted to. All right, commercial time. We'll be back.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Hot dogs, Armor hot dogs. What kind of kids eat Armor hot dogs? Fat kids, skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks. Fat kids, sexy kids. Even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs. Armor hot dogs. Hot dogs give love to bite.
The year 2032. The city, Los Angeles. The movie, Demolition Man. The restaurant,
Now, all restaurants are Taco Bell.
the demo deal. Buy a burrito supreme, nachos, and a large drink for one low price. And get an official Demolition Man movie poster absolutely free.
I'm impressed.
The supply's limited. The conclusion, get to Taco Bell today.
In the future, you have to defrost a cop to put a criminal on ice. Sylvester Stallone is John Spartan, the Demolition Man. The toughest cop in the 21st century. But Wesley Snipes is cold-blooded Simon Phoenix.
Simon says freeze! Now fry like a chicken.
But Demolition Man always keeps his cool.
Hey, you didn't say Simon says.
The future isn't big enough for the both of them. Demolition Man, figures and bowler jet each sold separately, new from Mattel.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I wanted to just play commercial. What other commercial am I going to play?
That
for the
makes total
Demolition
sense
Man?
because,
Yeah,
marketing
pretty much.
back in the day knew what it was doing. And that's the problem, fellas, because you
Oh.
know what? You know what kids should have gotten these days?
What's that?
John Wick commercials. They should have had little John Wick action figures for kids
yes.
aimed at them. That is where we have failed. When Mad Max Fury Road came out, there should have been Hot Wheel commercials of kids playing in the
Mhm.
sandbox.
RC cars.
Yeah, we are lacking as a society. When
I am
Extraction came out, I should have had little, Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah.
Army, G.I. Joe looking guy.
Mhm.
I mean, the best I got is like I have Fury Road Funko Pops.
Yeah,
but
same.
that's about
And-
it. You
and
know,
so it's like,
That's
no,
not a
I
toy.
want-
That's a
right?
thing.
Yeah,
I want a John Wick with a bazooka because they have to
Right.
release like 17
And I want that
different versions
bazooka
of
to
him.
shoot a projectile that can take my eye out.
Yeah, but I lose
Yeah.
it in the backyard.
Well,
You-
yeah,
you got-
that's
you have
or
to
in the
get
vacuum, right?
So obviously he's going to come with the car, but you also have to get the Continental airplane.
Yeah.
So that you have
And like,
Yep.
The blimp.
the blimp. You always got to have the blimp and the manhole cover thrower. Wait, that's Ninja Turtles. But yeah,
But you're on the right track, right?
but yeah, it's as we were talking. I did find a Demolition Man action figure. Not
You
long
got the John
ago.
Spartan there. That's beautiful.
I got the John Spartan that, and to Nate's credit, comes with combat cannon. So it's a
See? Yeah.
giant
Mhm.
rocket launcher that hooks onto his shoulder.
Oh man.
But there is one. I mean, I want to find the other action figures, but there's one vehicle that this playset did come with.
Was it released?
It was released.
Is it the G?
It's the Oldsmobile
The
442.
442, yeah.
They call it the Fast Blast 442 because probably Oldsmobile didn't give them the rights to use the name in the
Yeah,
toys.
probably.
And I'm seeing on the back now. I don't know if these got released, but it's showing Nerf-like blasters. Like,
Oh
My
actual,
God, that would be amazing.
You
to
gotta
have.
post that on
Yeah.
Insta
Oh,
or
I'll
something. Yeah,
share.
yeah.
I'll share the backs of
Take
all this. and
pictures of
everything.
that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I-
The audience, they're like, I don't get to see the cool thing that Charlie is showing up right now.
Mhm.
Why?
Hey, I'm pretty good about putting the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
up.
You'll
on
put it up there. I assure you. Yeah.
I'm
Well, yeah,
pretty-
we
pretty
should
good
have
at
had
that.
like demolition laser tag kits,
Yeah.
And then like there was a Genesis and Super Nintendo game, which
There
I
were
don't
video
remember
games.
if I rented that one or not. I feel like that would.
Was there a Demo Man NES?
There was.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I
all right.
don't know. It was yeah, Super Nintendo. So it was
Okay.
after
There
NES.
was a True Lies Super Nintendo game that was amazing.
Yep.
Highly
A-
recommend to this
A
day.
True Lies?
Oh yeah.
True
Schwarzenegger
Lies.
and Curtis?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's Terminators.
How
there's a-
naked was Curtis in the video game?
Not really. She doesn't
all
get
you
naked in
got
True
was
Lies.
Arnold's good.
She's
You
in-
get me.
Isn't she in her
She's in
bra
her
and
bra
panties?
panties. I mean, that's
pretty good.
fine for a teenager. It worked.
It's for a teenager. That's perfectly fine.
I'm still we're holding out on doing that because one of these days we're gonna get that Blu-ray and 4K release from James Cameron.
Fair.
So
Yes.
it's like
It's
we
weird
gotta
that
get
we
that.
haven't. I don't understand what the whole.
I have it
It'll
on
come. It'll come
DVD, which is yeah. We've been waiting like 10 years.
I mean, it
to
was
get
streaming on
yeah.
Hulu not too long ago, which would
It
have been
was.
an HD copy.
Well,
it just feels weird.
If
unless,
it's not on
like, the
Hulu, it might
Weinsteins
be
were
it might
involved.
be on the way.
Well,
If
the only
they
thing is,
took it
like-
off of streaming, it might be on the way.
I don't know.
We will see.
I don't know. We will see. Yes, indeed.
We'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, there's again getting into just action movies that had toy line support, which is just
RoboCop had
amazing.
toys.
Oh, yeah,
Rambo
RoboCop
had toys.
toys.
Demolition Man had toys. Why doesn't John Wick have toys? Because our society needs to be. I don't know.
Drunk Pete's angry
like,
that he didn't get a John Wick toy. That's all.
I'm angry my nephew didn't get John Wick toys.
Yeah,
I would
that
go
way you
over
can
and I would
steal it
play
and
with
play
his
with it.
toys.
Everybody should have like a John Wick plush that you go to bed with, man.
Aw.
Oh my God, I would snuggle that so hard.
I think
We
I
have
think
all
a
those-
John a
those
John
wrestling
Wick
buddies we used
dog
to get.
wrestling buddy would be
Yeah.
a hot seller because
I'd be
everybody
down.
would want to buy that. It's like,
And
oh,
like
be
you
down.
squeeze it, and it goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking, I'm back."
Or you could get different ones and be like, yeah, I'm thinking it's bedtime. And the kid's like, it's bedtime, mom and dad.
Bang, 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 bang.
Don't have to be scared of the boogeyman because he goes to bed with you. It's totally
Aw.
fine. The
Aw.
Baba Yaga will
Baba
will take
Yaga.
care of it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
He's what you send to kill the boogeyman.
What you said to kill the boogeyman.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, wait, we're
That would have
talking.
solved. That's perfect because I was terrified of the boogeyman as a kid. So if I would have
Mhm.
had that plush,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
would have known I had the thing that takes him out. I'm good.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Come on. We're
I am the boogeyman, and I'm snuggly.
we're doing all the marketing for them, guys. I don't know.
Somebody's gonna make money off of
calling
this.
They
these
are.
days.
One of these days they're going to make money off of us off that. But all right, well, another thing I would have bought, I would have got a John Spartan, stuffed animal. I totally would have been down with that. Him and his little beret off to the
Yeah.
side.
I love that beret carried over into the Expendables universe.
100%, man. I
Mhm.
love Stallone can rock a beret, man. I don't know, man. It just
It's a
works.
hard thing to do, but he does.
It really is. Wesley Snipes hated having his hair dyed that color.
I heard
Yeah,
that.
but it allowed Dennis Rodman to go,
To,
I
like,
want that
that's
and make it
bitchin'.
happen.
Yep.
You are fined
Was
1
that for
credit
me?
for a violation of the verbal
Damn
rights
it!
you stand-
Yeah,
one
that was on
toilet
purpose.
was fair, actually.
Need some toilet paper. Yeah, totally Dennis Rodman took his look from Simon Phoenix in this movie, which I absolutely adore in this. But let's talk a little bit about America's sweetheart, Sandra Bullock in
Oh,
this.
this
movie,
is like her
man.
first big
90s.
role, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think
First-
she did Speed right after this. Wasn't Speed
Right
94?
after, or closely after. Yeah.
It was right after, and one Rob Schneider told her, because they were somewhat good friends, going, I don't know about this movie you're getting ready to do about the bus. Doesn't sound like it's going to do very good, which ends up being one of the biggest blockbusters.
I think
of
it was
the
the biggest movie of the year, like
Yeah.
money wise.
that catapulted her. It was after this and that one that was now Sandra Bullock was everywhere in
Mhm.
all of the rom-coms. Unfortunately she did do Speed 2 Cruise Control, but she
That's
bounced
not
back from that.
unfortunate at all. The action movie classic Speed 2 Cruise Control will one day
Really?
be covered on this podcast.
One day.
Oh.
How do you
no.
stop a bus, Pete? You
Uh,
don't. It doesn't have brakes. It's
I
the
don't-
ultimate speed.
Why are you yelling at me?
Why did you say bus when it's a boat?
Shut up.
You are fined 1
I'm
credit
so
for a
confused.
violation of the verbal morality you stand-
Gonna go hide.
Nate's not
Uh,
even the one drinking tonight.
Yeah, I know.
But Sandra Bullock has been in a lot of great things, and I adore her. Is she the girl next door, or is she just
She
like
totally.
She is
I mean,
definitely America's girl next door.
she's clearly an attractive gal? No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
But did you didn't honk me for that?
I said
No,
butt.
butts are fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to
Okay.
say that in the future.
Ifs, ands, or asses.
Nope.
Ah, shit.
You are
See?
fined
Ah,
1
shit.
credit for a violation of the verbal
It has to
morality
play all the
you
way through before I can hit it again. Stop it.
Yeah, man.
Fined 1
It's a
credit
slow
for a
machine for the
violation of
future.
verbal morality you stand-
But I feel like I think she has such great chemistry with pretty much anybody I've ever seen
Right.
with her on screen. She's a chameleon. She can do anything. I saw her recently on I rewatched The Blind Side, and
Oh yeah.
man was she good.
She plays a Southern mom so good in that movie.
and like a Southern Appalachian mom, like
Appalachian.
I'm sorry, Appalachian. I suffer no
Don't
fools.
piss off the
You will-
Appalachian.
You will listen to me, or you will feel
You'll
my wrath.
incur my wrath.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And as she speaks so delightfully and this and that, and then but I completely understand that I do not cross you for anything. But I really enjoyed her in this. She had wonderful chemistry with Sly Stallone. I think she embraced her persona.
She's got this
naivety.
naivety. I was trying to think of the right way. You know, she's
Appalachia, naivety. Yeah, you
I'm
know.
gonna smack you.
You have earned 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality.
But it's not really
standard.
naivety. It's that is the way society is.
Yeah,
One of my beefs about the film is this is a generation maybe removed from when John Spartan was frozen, and all of a sudden all of San Andreas is neutered
I
to
want
a
to
degree.
say, so what do they consider generations now? What 20 years is kind of like around what a generation.
Well, yeah, okay.
You know?
So you're
it's like
born,
two
you have a
generations
kid,
removed.
right? And then
Yeah.
your kid is old enough to have a kid. That's a generation.
So 20-ish years.
Yeah,
is what we
20-ish
would-
years. And this movie is
Two-
20-ish years removed. So
2 generations away. 40 years.
90.
96
okay.
to 32. Yeah.
Oh,
So it was on its way to
okay,
40
okay.
years. So
Math is hard.
it's fine. But no, but there she even makes the comment for a 74-year-old,
Yeah.
you know, in the movie. And like Nate said, we're kind of led to believe she's in her 20s. I want to say over 25 at least, I would say.
She's
Not
definitely a
30.
rookie young
Yeah.
cop on the force.
She is a 20. Yeah, you're right. She is
Yeah.
a 20-year-old person who has gone through school and has a career.
Yeah.
So
you're young. Think all you
24 to
want.
30,
You know,
she's in there somewhere.
That whole comment she gets fed earlier on in the movie, you know, which is, but I like how it sets it up. Then you have Garcia, which is kind of like the even more, what's the word?
Oh, he is. He is.
Staunch
Yeah, he is
than
in
what
the.
she is. You know, she's gravitated to that 90s style, that 90s era. Garcia is, you know, straight line,
completely
you know.
indoctrined into the
Yes.
society.
That's a good word. I like
and
that
there's most of them are. I think she's the anomaly in the police force minus
Zachary Lamb.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Minus Zachary, she is the anomaly in the police force where she has her she has
Her
fetishes.
infatuation. Yeah.
Her infatuation, fetish, whatever. She is fetishizing the 90s, much like people do with all sorts of other cultures.
I mean, it's
and
happening
time
now
periods.
because when I was working at Hot Topic, kids were coming in to buy stuff for Spirit Week, and it wasn't 80s Day or 70s Day, it was 90s Day.
Right. Sure.
Like, we're now
exactly.
at that part, which feels weird because it's
I don't like it.
that's not allowed to happen.
It's not
I
really
like
a
it.
fetishing, but yeah, it's now the silly retro is the 90s when I was.
But for some reason, we are still really latched on to the 80s because of like things like Stranger Things and
the 80s
so
and 90s
forth.
were a time of extremes, and
Well, it was extremes, but it was also a lot of leaps forward. It wasn't small steps
technology
anymore.
and music and
You know,
and fashion and all sorts of
culture,
weird and
everything,
wonderful
just
things.
all of it just kind of, it was like this, you know, things started a bit slow. I mean, we're talking it's 2023 now. 1980 is 40 plus years ago. I was born in the 80s. 40 plus years from that was the 1940s. Think about what you think of with the 1940s. My kids are now looking at that going, wow, that's from the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, it's
'Cause,
like,
there's no way any kid from the 80s would be like, let's all dress up like we're from the 1940s.
Exactly.
Because that
I don't know anything
ain't
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're reading about it in our
Well,
history
that's
book.
wartime and stuff.
Parents
Like there's
and
no
potentially
happiness there.
grandparents don't know anything about the 1940s.
Right. I mean, it's such a weird, these type of movies, the fact that we, you know, this is kind of what we've set ourselves up for because we dig into VHS is that's kind of what's always forefront in our minds. But it's so wild watching these that I feel like when I let Anthony watch these, he has a better reaction to it than if I would watch, say, a movie from the 50s or a silent movie from, you know, even earlier.
Oh,
like
how so?
30s I think because the technology is still holding up well enough for these movies, you know,
okay,
special
all
effects
right.
and some of the subject matter.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
still somewhat relatable than it was for like gangster movies when I was a kid, you know, watching
Mhm.
something maybe my dad watched when he was a kid. You know, it was just, it's a little bit easier for Anthony to latch onto. plus I connect with him because we watch all the new stuff now.
Mhm.
You know, we do
Okay.
watch the John Wicks, we do watch all of the Marvel movies, but now he can kind of see like the timeline of how we've gotten to where we are.
Well, yeah, we're like growing up, like, you know, if
Yeah.
we were to watch something older, like something like Citizen Kane, it's like, oh my God, this is the most boring thing ever.
Exactly.
You know,
And
like,
I think
or
it would be
some
different
of
if I
the
was
Westerns that you had that weren't Clint Eastwood's like, good Lord, this is so dumb, you know?
yeah.
But it's
I
like
mean,
every uncle had to watch Bonanza or something. It's like, this is the dumbest thing ever.
I had to watch Bonanza when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. So yeah, it's that change. It's worse somehow. The 80s and 90s are this like milestone period in human evolution. You know, it's just because of how much things, because now we're all more connected. Now people are getting places faster, communicating easier. Back in the day, it wasn't as prevalent, as easy to us, with travel going overseas now is nothing for us. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go book my ticket. Back in the time, that was an event that you planned, maybe not even a year in advance, several years in advance.
Potentially.
Now
Sure.
it's called, I can wake up
Do it
tomorrow
on my phone.
If I got the money, I can.
if I have a passport and the money
Mhm.
already, I can be overseas in a week.
Well, like I
know.
remember like my dad talking about trips to Tennessee and like how long it would take because
Yeah.
like you couldn't go 70 on the highway, you know, you had to go 55.
Well,
And
half the
just like
highways didn't exist.
yeah, like
there's
so
that
like
too, yep.
trips, you know, for us like an 8-hour trip to Tennessee was basically doubled for when he was a kid.
Mhm.
And then like I even remember like, you know, printing off MapQuest and like that's such a foreign thing now, you know, you don't do that anymore. You just type in an address and go.
It's like, I still do that. Shut up, Nate.
He still
I'm
does
not
get
that old.
DVDs from Netflix.
It's right. He still gets his.
That's how old Pete is.
I
He's
hate
like,
you-
you got
I
the
hate you both.
ruler, and when you measure,
I'm
from
going
the
away.
quarter
Bye.
inch, that is
Click.
25 miles.
He's got his sextant out there, charting the stars.
He busts out his compass.
I
to
can
make
only
sure that
travel
he's
by
going
night
west.
because
That's right. We only
the
travel
stars
at
are
night.
out at night.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. But no, I think that's really what it comes down to, is it's just such a weird timeline. And to see it in a movie form made in the 90s, talking about a time we're not even to yet.
Mhm.
That is still just kind of mind-blowing even now. It's so weird when you watch a movie and they're like, in the future in 1999, you're like, no,
Didn't
you guys
happen.
suck.
But now it's like 9 years from now, we're going to be in, you know, 32. We're going to watch this
Right.
again, being like,
Right.
well, what did they get right now?
Mhm.
That's a lot close.
And
So
but I think they got a lot right. They got
Yeah.
they got streaming right. They got communications right. They got Zoom right. They
transportation
got
right,
electric cars right. They got a surprising amount right.
without getting too much into the now topics now, even kind of the way they are in that one, where they don't swear.
Oh yeah.
They're very respectful of one
Oh,
another. I
oh,
mean,
I-
that is shifting now. Like we're witnessing the start of that.
Sure. All this was all their non-contact was supposedly some sort of virus upon virus
Oh,
upon
yeah.
virus, much like we've just gotten out of. Thank God we're out of it, and
Right.
it's under control of COVID. So their COVID wasn't in check, so they no longer exchange fluids or touch or anything like that.
Well, and
which is
who says we couldn't have easily gone
Uh,
that
uh,
direction, or
there-
went into
you're-
something else?
if
I
if
mean,
we weren't diligent and
Yeah.
stayed on top of
Who
it,
knows?
yes, that is
But-
entirely what could have been.
And it comes down into where even like somewhat of the social classes that we see that have developed in this new community,
Mhm.
we kind of see that happening now with people. It really is a movie that, while it is an action movie, it is probably one of the greatest action movies. I think it's definitely a movie everyone should at least check out, just to see how much it's gotten right over the years and how close it is from being made in 1992, released in 93, but Pete, I think you had some homework for us, and I think because we're on all these topics, it's somewhat relevant to what we're talking about right now.
What did I?
Pete doesn't even remember his homework.
He never does.
God, I don't know why I do your homework anymore.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm sorry. We had several homeworks for this one. So anyway,
I added one fast food franchise. Damn it!
You are fined
You,
one
I
credit
find
for
one
violation of
credit.
the verbal
You
morality
son of a bitch. So
You are fined one credit for a violation.
I
of
thought
the
one of the
verbal
fun
morality
things we
standard.
could do is we could. I hate saying in this day and age.
I
we
like
don't-
watching Pete's brain stop working.
I was
for a second.
actually going to read what he wrote us, but he's really trying to remember.
I
You
am.
wrote what were common things we had in the 90s that really
But I
aren't
was trying
around
to
anymore.
make that just gel that into. Anyway, Charlie, just read it and we'll work with that.
Okay.
I've had a few beers.
All right. He goes, here's homework. And so he goes, what were common things we had in the
Oh, yeah.
90s that really aren't around anymore, like even now? So, and that's kind of wild because that's essentially what John Spartan's having to deal with is everything he knows has been stripped away.
It's gone.
And I think that's one of the tragic parts. Like he asked about his wife, and it's like, well, she passed away.
Wife and
Then, like,
daughter.
he asked about his daughter, and the captain's like, we didn't revive you to have this
A family
reunion.
reunion.
Yeah, like you have a mission to do, and that's kind of it. And it's just like the
Well,
dude doesn't even get a chance to look up what happened to his daughter.
Later on in the film, he said something about, I know I have a daughter out here, but I don't even know if I want to meet her because I'm such a Neanderthal to this society, in this society.
Before we answer Pete's thing, since Nate's really good at bringing this stuff up, they did film him meeting his daughter.
Oh,
Did they? No way.
It was actually cut from the movie. She is one of the scraps with Dennis Leary. And if you look closely at the end where they kind of come to the end and they're like, you get a little dirty, you get a lot clean, there is a woman standing next to Dennis Leary that is in the frame of the shot, and she's like looking at John Spartan and Dennis Leary, like, how you feel like it feels like main character energy, and she's like reacting to what's being said. That's supposed to be his daughter.
That's awesome. You
But
know
they
what
cut it.
though? I'm gonna make in my head canon that she is married to Jack Black in this.
That's
one.
right. Jack Black
Yeah.
is also a scrap in this movie.
It's so great to see him.
Yep.
Did you?
It's
I didn't see him.
you didn't
Oh
see
yeah,
him?
he's
Oh,
there.
yeah, he's in there.
Okay.
It's like it's.
I wasn't
it-
looking for him though.
It reminds
Oh,
me.
I
of
was
those-
because I remember him being in it. Like,
Well, it reminded me of when me and Nate watched Waterworld, and Jack Black's in that. Yeah.
I love seeing Jack Black pop up throughout
man,
history of
exactly.
early movies.
You got to catch your teeth
Oh.
somewhere, right?
Well, I'll go first, Pete. So
Okay.
I'll keep it somewhat simple
what was
because we've been
what was in the 90s and no longer is a thing?
I'm gonna just kind of go for something that I just miss, and I miss it for my kids. Is Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh,
It's so simple.
Oh,
It's
my
such a
God.
simple concept.
This is the furthest thing from what I was thinking about, but you're 100% right.
I took it to that line of because I'm experiencing it now. Like they can watch cartoons any time of day.
Sure.
Anything. They can watch what I watched on Saturday morning.
But there's
any
something
time of day.
special about the Saturday morning
we-
aspect.
I
The
would
bowl of
watch
cereal.
I would watch a Friday night special on ABC, NBC, and CBS
Mhm.
telling about what's going to be on
Yes.
the fall
Yes.
Saturday morning. Like the week before the fall cartoons happened, they would have a special on Friday night in prime time for the kids. And you would sit in front of there and you would get a preview of Smurfs and Snorks and Gummy Bears
All
and
of it, man.
Transformers and He-Man and Battle Cats and Thundercats and Silver
And it
Hawks
was, and they would have
whatever
like
it was.
special animations of the characters introducing it,
Mhm.
or if there was some of the live action that turned into cartoons, they would have those people talking.
Yep.
I remember those.
Yep.
But it's one of those things now that we get up on Saturday morning. There's no like sitting around the TV eating a bowl of cereal.
Oh my God.
And the thing is, like, you're like, well, Charlie, you're 40 some odd years old. Why do you care? My dad watched Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
There were some
that wasn't
awesome
uncommon.
cartoons. Yeah, I mean, there was some awesome cartoons that my dad was invested into the story. Like Pirates of Dark Water was one.
Oh
He
yeah.
loved that cartoon.
That was a
Yeah.
that was a really good long story.
Yes,
Like, even
that never got
Transformers
finished.
and Thundercats and that ilk, they
Yeah.
were episodic. But the Pirates, that
The
was
ones that followed a story all
Mhm.
the way through. But and it was one of those things, like, I remember being able to share that time, with my dad and my sister,
Mhm.
and it doesn't exist anymore. It's and honestly, it's not even something that you can even watch on television and understand. You had to experience
Week
it
by week.
firsthand. Yeah, to really like, I can't explain to my kids what it felt like to have Saturday morning cartoons. Because they're just like, okay, well, why didn't you just turn it on the Cartoon Network? When I was a kid, there was no
There
Cartoon
was no
Network.
such thing.
Yeah, it was ABC, CBS, NBC, like
Mhm.
Pete said,
Mhm.
and that was your cartoons. That was it.
That was it.
And at noon, maybe 12:30.
6 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah,
cartoons all day long, and you would switch channels.
you'd switch channels until American Gladiators came on. That's That's how
And
that
then you
12
also
o'clock
had on
movie.
Fridays,
Yeah.
you look forward to TGIF.
TGI
And
Friday,
you got that
man.
Mhm.
lineup. And then
Yep.
on
Mhm.
Sunday, you had the Fox cartoons with like The Simpsons and all those shows.
I had to watch those at my grandma's because we didn't get Fox, but that's where I would watch RoboCop and
Mhm.
those type of cartoons. That's where I got to see the R-rated
Oh
cartoon,
man.
Police Academy, and all those. Nate, what about you, bub? What's
Thank you,
something that
Charlie.
is
That's
Mine's kind of a combo that pays off this, but it's prizes that you get from like cereal or like Happy Meal toys. You know?
Oh wow, yeah.
There used to be some bangers that you would get from cereal boxes,
Uh-huh.
the spoon that would change color when you pour milk on it.
I have
the
a
bowl
Batman
that you would
piggy
get.
bank from Batman cereal from the Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
just
that,
stuff
Charlie?
like that is just no longer a part of this world, and
Uh-huh.
it bums me out. Now I know Happy Meal still exists, but I feel like they're never as cool as what we used to have as growing up.
So my parents, because I turned 43, my dad got this wild
Old.
hair and he went and bought Richard Petty diecast cars because he drove the number 43. Well, he hands me one, and it's a Hot Wheel in a black blister pack with a clear film on it. And I went,
Mhm.
I know what this is. And it's his Cheerios car. This was stuck on the inside of the Cheerios box.
Oh, cool.
That you literally got a
Yeah.
Hot Wheel in the cereals box.
Is that the original
It's
blister
in the
pack?
it's in the original blister pack still.
That's so cool.
Because
Oh,
dad
that's
was
awesome.
like, why is the card missing? And mom remembered. She goes, oh, that's like the one that would come in the cereal boxes. It was glued to the cardboard, and you got the Hot Wheel in there. I got this, and I think it was Bobby Labonte or something like that, or Terry something or another.
Mhm.
Anyway,
And
yeah,
I know, our parents had like the Cracker Jacks boxes, and
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
cared for those. Like
The Cracker
I
Jacks
don't
was
really
always
like
got
Cracker Jacks
tattoos.
that much.
They were
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Bazooka
Tattoos
Joe
and
gum. That's terrible. But
some dumb
you know,
bead game.
when you had like the McDonald's like Batmobile toy that you got,
the good ones.
yeah, that was awesome. And just the closest we've gotten recently was I think it was last year when McDonald's was doing Pokemon cards with the Happy Meal. That was
Oh
great.
my god, that's a chicken nugget.
So they did the redo of the McDonald's chicken nuggets last year, and I had the cowboy, and my kids went one Sunday with Granny, and one of them got the cowboy chicken nugget. It's a remake of the old one, but they gave me.
But it's stuff like that lights you up, Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
they did the
This was
Halloween
the best
buckets
thing ever.
I got at least 2 of the Halloween buckets out of the 3 back in October because it's just and now it hangs
the
up in my
skeleton and the
office.
pumpkin and
Yeah,
the
it
witch
hangs up
and
in my
the
office at work. Like it's
Frankenstein, I
great.
think. Yeah.
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 No, it's
I have a Fruit Loops box. Now, this box didn't come with anything in it, but you could order a Han Solo
The
in
removable
Stormtrooper
Stormtrooper helmet.
with
The
this
that was the
order form.
Powers of the Force line.
Yeah, yeah.
You could order the removable Stormtrooper helmet
This
from
is
Han
this
Solo.
is the box I bought from the Kroger.
That's awesome.
Still with Fruit Loops in it. This is probably the most disgusting thing ever. Or
It don't matter. It's cool.
It don't matter. So I still have the Han Solo, but this is the one box that I kept just to keep.
I still have. My mom did the mail away for Lifeline, which was a GI Joe from
Ooh,
Kellogg's.
yeah.
And the only way that, like, he came on a card in the store, but if you got him from Kellogg's, he didn't come with any weapons. He only came with his first aid kit, because they didn't want to sell a toy
with weapons
in it. But my mom did the whole box top thing and sent in like $5, and I still have my Lifeline GI Joe, man. Love
That's totally something that
we're
that
giant
isn't
kids
around anymore.
That's what we are, man. That's what we are.
Gosh,
what is it when we do these movies? It gets more into our experiences than even just talking about the movie anymore, because I love this movie, though. You know,
that's
it's
what
like,
this is all about. This is a hangout,
is.
and I do love this movie for sure.
You know, I love the aesthetic they do. I love the differentiation between above and below. Like, below's damn near Mad Max, and
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality.
I don't know if everyone's getting tired of this joke or not, but I'm committed. But I just love that juxtaposition of the people that are well off and then the people that are not. And Simon Phoenix, when he puts his team together, is just so much fun when he gets all the other criminals. One of the criminals is Jesse Ventura.
Jeffrey Dahmer. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jesse Ventura.
He didn't die at that point, which is very strange.
He was
He
not
still
dead
alive
at that point that the movie was shot. Yes.
Yeah, you can't. That's why you try not to do anything topical in movies. It doesn't age very well later on.
Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't going to age well regardless.
Jeffrey Dahmer died the next year,
Yeah.
in '94, after this movie came out. So it's like, that's not gonna happen. You know, it's one thing they weren't prophetic about.
So one of the things I thought was interesting. So the book that this movie was based off of, and there's discussion.
there's some.
Let's just say that this was based off of a book, because it really was.
They cashed a check.
Yeah.
They cashed a check.
It
So
is
we'll
what
leave
it
it
is.
at that. Yeah.
But there was an interesting thing in the book. Now, I haven't read the book, but I did read some things about it that made me very interested. There was something called soma, and it is a pill or a drug that was added to food and the water supply and all sorts of things, much like fluoride, to make everyone happy. And if that ain't a fascist dictatorship, I don't know what is. It's frightening to a point where a government is strong enough to.
Well, it kind of comes down to where you have to get the people to be willing to accept such a drastic type of change. You know, it comes down to that if people are going to be resistant to it, it's not going to work. They actually say in the movie that they were at a point of despair. He came at the right time, that when the people of San Angeles needed him to rise up. So it's kind of, I get where you're going with that. And they don't make it sound as malicious as far as worldwide government.
Nothing like that
in
starts
the
out
movie.
maliciously. It
No.
starts out like we're helping society, but then it also checks a lot of boxes off for control.
Yeah.
And
It's like this Demolition Man was at a point where he had just finally started seeing his vision come to fruition. That's why he was so adamant to get rid of Edgar Friendly. He's like the last
He's the antithesis.
vestige
Yep. Right.
of what he is trying to eradicate in the populace. And once he does that, then his grand plan is there, and the people are susceptible to it now. That is the way of life. So it's very conspiracy theorist. If you really wanted to get down into it, it really is. But you can also look at it and go, it's not that far fetched.
Right. It's absolutely. We have fluoride in our water system right now,
Yeah.
and it makes our teeth nice and happy. But what is there to prevent the government from putting something, putting Adderall or
Or they have
Zoloft,
already,
or maybe they already have, but they clearly haven't, because
there's no Adderall in there. Yeah, I'm
right,
not.
right.
As one douchebag would say, make the frogs gay.
right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And-
there was a big moment there where Pete just completely lost me in his rambling of conspiracy hat tinfoil, but frogs are gay. That much I at least figured out from his conversation.
I wasn't doing that. I was just like, there is a very interesting subplot in the book where there is a drug that has been introduced.
Wait, was
to the
Demolition Man
populace.
based on a book and I completely
Yes.
missed that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I
so-
thought Drunk Pete was going on a tangent. Okay.
No, so it was a European writer. It's very well known that because those people don't get the kind of
protection.
protection
Yeah,
that a lot of people will plagiarize, and the guy even says he knows who actually did it, but it came down to the point where he couldn't afford to defend his property.
Ouch.
And it's out there.
That's awful. That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
If you want, I mean, if you want to start getting down that rabbit hole, you'll also find out that there's one lady that wrote the Terminator and the Matrix, and those movies are connected.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there's a
Oh,
rabbit
it's
hole for you
unfortunate.
guys to run down. But yeah.
So, like, remember the time that a bunch of bullets got shot and there wasn't a bunch of conspiracy happening that, you lost me on?
I know.
I thought it was
never
interesting.
seen Nate go
The
so
one point that
glassy-eyed.
I dug up about this movie was it was very interesting that the whole drug thing, which explained why everyone was so incredibly happy all the time.
Except for that
and
one guy who's like,
docile.
I just don't feel very good, and I just don't know why I'm around. You got joy feelings and people around you.
Right.
It does. This movie feels like an episode of Futurama, which I love.
Yeah.
true.
Without the suicide machines.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But they do say unsanctioned death or something like that when they talk about the MDK. So it does get you thinking for a second, like, is it legal now? What's going on? Oh, but yeah, I do believe we're on the verge of having an extra large episode. We already come off of a two-parter here, but
this is 100.
This is 100, so it's fine.
I mean, at least gotta ask Charlie while we're on the subject of 100.
Go for it.
You're the only one that's been here for all 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Did you ever see this happening?
No. Honestly.
That you would do what didn't he see happening, Nate?
100 episodes would happen.
I thought
come on, Drunk Pete. Come on, you gotta be with
right
me
now
here.
having a hell of a time is something
yeah.
I would clearly expect.
I think that it was a challenge.
I'm Drunk
to get to
Pete
the,
now.
to get to the 10.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
So it was like I was hitting those milestones. Like, okay, we got our 10 episodes. All right, we got our first 500 downloads. We got our 1,000 downloads. Then it was, adding the horror show, and now I'm doing this weekly.
I mean, hell, we're getting closer and closer to 1,000 downloads a month.
Oh my God, that's
we are.
amazing.
It's and I think that's what's kind of pushed me is if I was still only getting a handful of downloads. While I do think this is fun to do, it is it does add a little bit to you when you're like, oh, people do actually care what we're talking about, and it puts gas in the gas tank. And the relationships we've built over the years, I didn't know half the people. I have friends in Canada now. I'm part of the Action Elite on YouTube now. It's a wild ride just getting to this 100th episode. We're now just over 2 years of doing this.
It doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't. It's like there's no way it's been 100. You know,
right?
That's the weird part. From like when the first episode of Delta Force aired, and like I know I wasn't part of the podcast then, but it's just like, nah, that was just like last summer. You know, even though it was in wintertime and everything, it's just,
Right. It was last summer.
It doesn't feel right. You know.
Yeah, it was. You know,
and then
we're just over 2 years
joining
ago.
full time.
Yeah.
Last January, basically from Highlander, going, I'm just gonna keep showing up. You can't get rid of me.
Right? Yeah, because we added you onto the action side of things, and you know things progress and things change. You know, it's just kind of been the natural progression, and now we've added Pete.
Yeah,
And,
sorry
you
about
know,
that.
We'll see how long he
Yeah.
lasts.
You're
yeah.
regressing.
But you know,
Well,
we've
after
done
February, because
Yeah.
that means, you know, at least 4 episodes out of the 100 were
February's only 10 months away, baby.
That is right. I am counting Pete's episodes in that
boy,
100.
Oh boy, oh boy.
But I don't know, man. It's been kind of a wild ride getting here, but it's been a fun ride. Like I haven't missed an episode,
No.
and
it's kind of crazy to think of like how much has been covered and how much there's still not been touched.
that's
Oh.
kind of been the wild thing of when I started this. It was when I started the group. This all started with the group a year before the podcast. Give Me Back My
Mhm.
Action Movies on Facebook was where it began during right at the beginning of COVID. It was just something to do, and to take it to there, and everyone asked like, well, when I started the podcast, well, it's like, okay, well, what happens when you've run through all the action movies?
There's no way.
And that's where I kept going. It's like, unless you think I'm only going to cover Stallone and Schwarzenegger,
Could do a daily podcast for 4 years and still not run out of material.
just about, man, just about. When you really start digging into it, it's like it's almost endless. And at some point, new ones are being made. We just won't be able to talk about the VHS ones,
Right.
But I don't know. I may not have the mental cognitivity to do this podcast by that time anymore. I don't know. You know, just be Charlie. What? Huh? Action?
I
I'll be
can't hear
back.
a thing. All the bullets. I'm deaf.
It's one of those things. It's weird you say that, and I make that joke. I've looked at these things like people in the rest homes, and we've had some grandparents in there, and we visited them, and they're usually watching like old television shows, and I'm sitting there going, am I going to be the one that's like playing Nintendo, watching all these old action
Watching
movies,
Demolition Man.
And
Oh, that's so cute. Grandpa's
Is-
watching Demolition
is
Man
it
again.
so weird that for some reason I'm looking forward to that? It's like
Your great
man, I could
grandkids
just-
are coming to visit you as you're pooping yourself watching
Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Yeah. Get ready, kids. This is the best part.
This is the part where he decapitates him. It's great. After
says
this, we're
the-
going to watch Commando. That
He
also
says-
has a John.
He says the line from the beginning of the movie. Is it cold in here or is it just me? Don't touch the thermostat, Timmy.
I can't tell if Grandpa's quoting the movie or if he's upset with us.
You're discharged. What? He has some discharge? No.
No.
He's watching
Oh,
Universal Soldier.
That's a credit right there.
Can you believe they have 12K now?
Exactly. It's like I'm right there in the movie. I just high-fived Stallone.
Let me show you Children of the Corn 2,
No.
children.
You wouldn't high five Stallone. You'd get just 2 inches away.
It's virtual.
Right.
I could actually be a character in the movie by that time.
Wow, these punches hurt.
Exactly. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of been it's been wild, man. It's hard to
Our
wrap your head
friendship
around.
has gotten stronger from this.
Oh, absolutely.
You
I mean, we've been
know?
friends for a long time before, but we never had weekly interaction. You know, we always had we had the group chat. That was
Yeah.
about the extent.
But now, even when we get done recording, it's like, well, I want to talk to Charlie for another 45 minutes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
Like
know,
when we're
like,
done with
it's
this.
just one of those things that like we're really intersected at this point. You know.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. You know,
I think
and-
one of the things that we're fortunate with our dynamic with everyone, none of us argue. Like
No.
that's such a huge thing when you're working with someone on a weekly basis with Charlie and Pete. Like none of us ever get pissed off at one another. None of us are ever like, you know what, screw this or anything like that. It's always like any movie that gets thrown out on the table, we all support one another. And I think that
Right.
really helps with the dynamic of
We may
how
voice
our lives go.
our displeasure at watching certain movies, but
Yeah, maybe a couple.
we still watched them and we still treat it with respect.
Even if, Pete is not smart enough to understand Cube and the
Hey,
nuances.
hey. Oh,
And he tried to go behind our back.
I have such sights to show you.
Turns out Cutie Honey has a sequel, Charlie. We have to run. I'm sick that night.
There's
a whole lore behind that character. I don't want to get into.
I'm sick.
I have something
calling
in
it
the
now.
bank. I have something in
I
the
don't know
spank
if we
bank.
have sick days, but I'm calling one in.
I've not used any of mine, but
No. Do
but
not
yeah,
call it.
no, it's kind of been something, man. It's been a fun ride anyway.
I am so happy to be a part of this anymore. This is I was a sidekick for a long time, and then you asked me to be on the regular, and I want to just thank both of you for adding me to the silliness of the podcast. This is a lot of fun. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
I've said it before, but it's like I would have never met Pete if it wasn't for starting.
Well, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
this
we
whole
live in
thing.
the same city, like
Right.
it's just something we would have never crossed paths.
I mean, we wouldn't have our friendship with Steven and Leo, or
Oh, yeah.
or Hydraberg,
Mhm.
and John and Jacqueline. A lot of J's over there.
Mhm.
But at a cut above review. I mean, and everyone. I mean, I can't list everyone. They know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the
honestly
friendships we've
sometimes
built
it's
here.
hard too because like as the Instagrams have grown, the way that algorithm does, it's like, oh shit, like that person did put out an episode, but I forget
You are fined 1
because
credit for a violation of the verbal
It's not
morality
getting old.
it hides, certain people's feeds. Sometimes,
Yeah, I've noticed
It's
that
just like,
a lot of people have gotten hidden on my feeds.
like from the beginning, podcasting after dark, and then I feel bad when I
Mhm.
don't like promote something for them because it's just like I just have so many things to scroll through, and then
Yeah.
like
But-
if I hit the search bar, it's just nothing but metal and horror movies and Haley Williams of Paramore. I know what my algorithm likes.
Exactly.
I know what I'm
Right.
clicking on.
Sure, Instagram's fine, man. It's fine. All right, guys. Well, since this is our 100th, and I guess I didn't realize how much more we were going to be adding to this because, it's Demolition Man. It's one of my favorite all-time movies, and I want to make sure we give it the proper type of recognition, and
Sure.
everyone listening. So I think here's what we're going to do. We're going to combine everything we usually do at the end. We're going to just talk about the end of this movie where it just gets completely insane, bombastic with car chases and insane
Mhm.
kills. So instead of like breaking down to a body count, guess what? There's the body count's 25 in this movie. So we're just going to get going, and we
Which
can talk
kind of
about
blows my mind, but it doesn't because, like I said, you have to keep these two characters alive
Wait,
throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And
25?
only 25.
Yeah. And Stallone
Uh,
doesn't go around on like a killing rampage.
No,
He, just knocks people out. His
What about the bus
baton
full of
is a
people?
taser.
they were already dead. That happened already.
That doesn't count?
No,
Okay.
they don't count. We
Okay.
don't see it. We
A
don't
lot
see
of
it
what you're
happen. It's
seeing
only talked
is-
about.
Okay.
Snipes, taking out people. But even then, like the movie's clever in the sense of how it portrays
Yeah.
the deaths on screen,
Spartan only kills like 3 or 4 people in this movie,
Yes.
including Phoenix. So anyway, we're gonna include all that, but I can't not talk about the awesomeness of the end of this movie because once they're underground, like we talked about, where it feels like it's Mad Max. I have to talk about he eats a rat burger, and it is one of my absolute favorite scenes in the movie.
so good.
My dad and I have repeated that in line for years. It's our favorite part when
Que carne. Rata.
and my dad loves this one fact because he goes, he finishes the burger.
Oh yeah,
The
he just
next
keeps
he
eating
is-
it.
scene,
He is
He-
double bird. I'm eating this burger. I don't care. It tastes great.
the last bite goes in and he licks his fingers.
Mhm.
So And he's not wrong. It's the best burger he's had in years because it's the only burger he's had.
Only
in
a
years.
burger he's had in years.
But anyway, from the moment they find that Oldsmobile 442 down in the wasteland, and Phoenix does the attack on him out of nowhere, they end up on the city streets and they're like, let's follow him. And he's like, and basically where he's like, yeah, we're going in a minute. And then all of a sudden, another thing that this movie got wrong, Oldsmobile doesn't exist as a brand anymore. And the car busts up through an Oldsmobile dealership.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of product placement going on.
Oh, there's a ton.
Clearly, Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, Oldsmobile, they all paid good money to be in here. Maybe they should have kept that to keep the brand alive. But and now I get a classic muscle car chase against an electric car that Simon Phoenix is driving around. It's an auto drive. The whole thing where he's like perfectly adapted to this because of his training, or his implant, what they've like put in his brain over the years. He's good at martial arts, computer hacking.
Touch on that, and yes, go ahead.
It's just so much stuff going on, and an amazing car chase. Sylvester Stallone basically gets turned into a cannoli because the car has secure foam pop out, which I fully believe will happen soon. I think we're not far from that at all. I've seen what a can of spray foam will do when you throw it up against a building and it explodes. It's fast. It happens really fast. So I see all that happening. And then just Wesley Snipes basically just turns the tables on Cocteau, which is awesome because Cocteau never thinks about the fact that he is releasing these other criminals. He only sees get rid of Edgar Friendly. I am in control of Simon Phoenix. I am safe. Never puts two and two together that Simon Phoenix can tell one of these other guys to kill him. And they have no
it's the
compunction to
cockiness
do
that
it.
ends him all, and I love that.
Yeah, and they throw him on the fire.
So good.
Love the visual of that. And, Associate Bob. He's just one of my low-key, he doesn't add much to the movie, but I think I'd be mad if he wasn't in this anymore. Yeah, and it's Otho from
Beetlejuice. Yeah,
my wife, Jackie loves that fact. She's like, I forgot he was in this movie, and he's basically playing Otho.
Yeah,
exact same.
All over
pretty
again.
much. Yep.
Yeah. And the final showdown at the cryogenic prison, and the articulated claw that's part of the fight scene.
The way it squeezes Stallone, I'm like, I feel like he would pop like a gusher.
I feel like it just didn't close all the way, like the claw machine at the stores.
There
was always that little gap.
The Walmart claw machine that always purposely goes, I don't have enough pressure.
Yeah. But it's also that other moment, and this goes back to what Pete was saying earlier, of the very Joker style way of toying with the hero. Is at any point he could have shot him. Like he's not aiming the gun when he's firing at the arm. It's one of those things like, yeah, if I hit you, big deal. But I'm messing with you this whole time. And now I'm going to drop you in this vat of, acid for melting the ice. He wanted this elaborate, setup. And, Stallone freezes a finger. I mean, that gets down into the cartoon into this. Like, how is the hero going to escape this week? Stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Stay tuned, demo kids.
All my little demolitionists, gather round for another story of John Spartan.
Make sure you buy your Ovaltine to get your communication device and
get your Taco Bell decoder rings out now.
Taco Bell. I'm so sorry. Yes, Taco Bell decoder ring. I was.
Wow, we have gone everywhere tonight.
Yeah.
And they bring back the line, is it cold in here? Good memory. I love that, man. I love the dynamic between the two of them. And then he freezes him, and then you're reminded that this is just a badass action movie.
You are fined 1 credit for
as he
of the verbal morality standard.
spins around so he doesn't get frozen and kicks Simon Phoenix frozen
It's a
head.
great
Frozen
practical
head.
effect.
Oh, it really is.
Lands, bounces, and then shatters like the
Shatters.
T-1000. But then I'm also reminded of another favorite movie of mine, which is Jason X, when he freezes that girl's face and then
it's one of the best
smashes it on the
kills.
table. There was a fan of Demolition Man right there that did Jason.
Oh yeah. Tell me that wasn't an homage for sure.
I mean, come on, man. You know, freezing things with nitroglycerin is just always fun. I love watching those videos where they
always fun
freeze the flowers and they'll shatter them, hit them with a hammer or something.
Ping pong
fascinating.
balls, yeah.
Pete and his balls. Yeah, so it's total.
Me and my balls.
Why do I set myself up so much?
I don't know why, man.
Yeah,
You walked right into it. He set you up
all around tonight.
He keeps on doing it.
But yeah, and then the movie ends, and you know they all kind of come together because Cocteau's dead, the threat's gone, and now society. It's still so weird. It's one area, and they're acting like they have to rebuild society. You know, and Dennis Leary's in charge, and he's gonna help. And
well, you know, because sequels are all the rage. And TV shows are. Just give us the Demolition Man, sequel
television
series.
show.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. Absolutely.
I feel like the end of this movie is a it's almost the heroes almost lose, because now that there's no fascist leadership, they have to figure out everything for their own. And everyone that has bought into this government now needs to figure out a new government. So who's going to lead that?
And it's one of the weird things.
There's a lot of serious questions that
don't need to be answered.
For real. The heroes win, the bad guys lose.
Yeah.
Yay.
But the way we've kind of been breaking down the like lore of Demolition Man, my guess is there is that scene where he's talking to all those people basically in the Zoom meeting where they're all in their little chairs. I'm like, that's a lot of work. I feel like we got it better because now we put everyone on a computer screen, just like how we're recording. Could you imagine me having a little Pete robot and a little Nate robot like rolling around on Roombas around my office?
Now I want to give you a Pete Roomba.
Yeah, now I want to attach my face to a tablet and put it on a Roomba.
Right. And I would just be like, no, get back over here. We're recording. And they're like, we want to see
Roomba
the
Nate
office
don't
act.
listen to anyone.
I had to go around and put you on like some uneven floor so you can't move around.
Roomba Nate is very unprofessional. I hope you're just ready for that.
Put a cement bag on top of you. You'll be fine.
Roomba is a horny Roomba.
It's also kind of a diva.
Yeah.
A diva, a horny diva.
Yeah, over there humping.
I want to party with horny diva Roomba Nate.
I don't know where you guys
Everyone wants to party with Roomba Nate and not real Nate.
No, Nate.
No, I'm always overshadowed by that diva.
You're right.
All right, guys. Well, since we kind of like wrapped everything up into one, I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's rate Demolition Man. We're everywhere tonight. Do you think 100 episodes we'd have this down pat?
Oh no, this is a mess.
No, never do. Never will.
I'm so happy this episode is a mess. I love
Episode 200, we're going to be more of a train wreck.
Woo!
Yeah, we're slowly
and we'll
descending.
have a fourth person probably, for all we know.
Probably. It'll be
We'll
robot
just keep
version.
reproducing.
Evil robot us's. That'll be the 200th
dicks.
episode.
Episode 200.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
I just dread editing because I've done that so much on this episode.
That's on you.
That's all on me. I know. All right. Pete's dad. I was going to start with Pete. You know what, Nate? You start. What are you rating Demolition Man?
I am going with a 9. The only reason it's not a 10 is because Stallone doesn't kill enough in the movie. But it doesn't play to the story of the movie, and I totally understand that, and I respect it. But it's always fun to watch Stallone dispatch bad guys.
True.
Very true. Very
That
true.
also, Stallone probably has one of my favorite one-liners in this of "You're going to regret this the rest of your life." Both seconds of
Both
it.
seconds of it.
Second.
That's so hardcore.
And how Sandra Bullock calls it out, like how you took the time to do that quip to that guy, and you roundhouse kick him in the face. There's a new shepherd in town.
And then she almost rips her
Sheriff.
dress off.
It almost falls off of her.
What? Right, because she does that left, right, and I think the strap broke on it, and she starts holding it immediately.
That dress weighed 40 pounds.
Oh shit! Did it really?
Insane.
All I saw was her. All I saw was her punch, and then go. Ooh!
Grab the dress. It was all like rhinestones and jewels. Weighed 40 pounds.
Oh, I didn't know it weighed that much. Yeah,
the strap did break.
All I saw was like, that looks like that was an improvisation.
That
like,
totally was.
oh,
That was a really good take, and they stayed with it. So
yeah.
All right, Pete, what are you rating Demolition Man?
Oh, this is a 9, easily a 9. I'm not an action guy.
I'm actually a little shocked.
This is a bitchin' film.
You are fined 1 credit for
I know.
violation of the verbal morality
Right. So this movie does everything. It's ridiculous. Most of the reason I don't like action movies is sometimes they get really personal, really real. Like it is person on person violence, and I don't dig that. That's just not my thing. But this is cartoonish enough that I just throw everything out the window and just sit back and enjoy this stupid movie. This movie is dumb. It is not good, but it's wonderful. 9.
9. All right, my turn.
All right. Yeah, go for it, Charlie.
I
already know what the answer is.
I was going to say, I don't think there's any mincing of words. I don't need to explain anything. This movie is 10 Al Leongs.
Mhm.
Honestly, that the only thing hurting this movie is Al Leong is not in this movie.
Which is shocking.
It is really
Right.
shocking with everyone else that's in it. But no.
Why on earth would you not cast this guy as coming out of the cryogenics? Holy moly.
Right.
You're
He could have
right.
been one of the scraps. He could have been one
Right.
of the villain, that
He
got
fits anywhere.
Right.
Al Leong can just go anywhere. Same with you could have put Gerald Nakamura in here, and I've been totally fine with any of that. But it's still going to get a 10. Again, it's a question we get asked all the time. What's your favorite action movie? And normally that's an impossible question to answer. I mean, normally I'm like, man, what mood am I in? What do I feel like watching? It's still a really hard question. But Demolition Man it's my favorite action movie. It just delivers on every aspect of the word action movie. When you say that, Demolition Man always pops into my head. And that's also along the lines of, Commando pops in my head, Predator pops in my head. But which one do I have more fun with? It's Demolition Man.
This is so much fun. This movie is so much fun.
Because it walks that line so perfectly. It's it. That's it, man. It's a 10 Al Leongs, 100 episodes. Now we have something very special that if you've stuck around this long, this isn't going to be a 2-parter episode. This is just going to be an XL. This is an extra large.
Yeah, double X.
A grande even. Something along
Venti.
those lines. A venti. I don't know those terms.
I think that's the bigger one.
Yeah. What was the big thing at Taco Bell? Did they even have a grande? It's a grande. It's a grande episode.
Interrito.
And we have an interview that we're getting prepared to do right now as we record this. So, everyone, please put your hands together for the one, the only Sylvester Stallone.
We got Stallone on this?
It's nice to meet you guys. How you doing? Thank you so much for having me on here. It's really great.
Thank you for answering the email. I know.
I get something from Give Me Back My Bucket. And it's a really long email. And I'm like, what? I'm going to give these guys a couple shots. Why not? You get it?
it.
Couple shots. That's what I do.
A little 1-2
God,
action
I'm
there. I
so
dig it.
excited to meet
I
you,
love it.
Stali.
I love it.
No,
Sly?
I'm excited to meet you, Pete, Charlie, and Nate.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Stallone. That's so cool.
No, you're really my favorite, Nate. You always make me laugh.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, you really do. I like you a lot.
He gave you a 9 on Demolition Man. I gave you a 10. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah, but look at that scrappy little face. It's really good.
you're not wrong. It's why he's my co-host. So,
I
all
could
right.
bet it.
All right. It'll work. Well, we have we've gathered up some questions, and now don't worry. It's only going to be in pertaining to Demolition Man. We're not going to ask you any personal questions.
You want to hear about Rocky? It's not about how hard you can hit, but it's about how hard you can take hits and keep on moving.
One day, when I decide that Rocky's an action movie, we might cover it on the podcast.
You know, I'm friends with Dolph. I can get him on the show.
All right, we may do it then. All right, if you can get me Dolph, we'll definitely talk. We'll have your
One
people
time
get
I
a hold of him.
directed a Rocky movie.
I know.
A couple.
You know, you're the one that told me we had to only talk about Demolition Man, but if you want to talk about Rocky,
You know, sometimes I don't get to talk about Demolition Man much these days.
right. So that's
I actually learned how to use the 3 seashells.
Did you? I think that was one of Pete's questions.
I didn't leave the bathroom for 24 straight hours. I ate a lot of Taco Bell to get in character of one John Spartan. And then I just went in there and I just started playing with the seashells. And next thing you know, it's kind of good. I still use it. Some people swear by the bidet. I don't. You know what I swear by? The seashells. Why did Sally go to the seashore? To get seashells.
You heard it here first, folks. He figured it out. So that's amazing. Well, anyway, we have a few other questions I'd like to ask in relation to Demolition
You know
Man.
what? You could fire away. That's a little action joke for you, Charlie.
I get that. I like it. All right. Well, here's my first one, and I thought this was kind of fun because you poke a little bit of just out of nowhere. So I know you and Arnold like to have a little bit of fun at one another's convention. Yeah. But I wanted to ask if you had been given the chance and not been frozen in the movie, would you have tried to been Arnold's running mate?
No, I would have beat him.
You would have ran against him.
I would have ran against him. Come on now.
But I mean,
I would have won.
Wouldn't you have just took the sure thing and both of you would have been in office?
Charlie, are you saying that you don't think I could beat Arnold?
I'm just saying I think it would be one of the most difficult elections ever
I
for
know.
people to
We
decide
be
between
making
you
history,
and Arnold.
though, and
You're
that's
not
what
wrong.
we do, baby.
I just kind of thought that maybe, having both of you in power, I mean, that says a lot
I can't
for
work
America.
with that guy. He's ridiculous.
All right.
You know?
I mean,
his policies are this, my policies are that. Come on now.
But you got to say he did at least make you Terminator in his movie Last Action Hero. And that had to kind of feel
That was
good.
a really nice gesture. I did really like that, but I do Rambo, he does Commando. What's up with that? They rhyme. You ever noticed that before? I noticed it right out the gate. I was like, yo, my name's John Rambo. This guy's name's John Commando. I called up my manager. I'm like, there ain't no way. Come on. Can you believe this guy?
Holy shit.
Honestly, Mr. Stallone, that's a really good observation.
I never knew you felt that way about it. Can I call you Sly or do I say Mr. Stallone?
Either one, buddy. Whatever you want to call me, you can call me.
I've always wanted to call you Sly, so I appreciate
yeah. I'm going to call you Char Bear then.
You can call me wherever you want.
All right, Char Bear. You keep firing away those questions. That was another action joke. Free on this throne.
So in the movie, and I don't know if you heard backstage in their green room, Demolition Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Demolition Man. I was in that movie.
I know.
Yeah,
you're amazing at it. So I wanted to say is, they kind of hit you a lot every time you drop a cuss word in there and they hit you with a credit. how many credits do you think you still owe them for the amount of cuss words you did in that movie?
Oh, whenever it comes to numbers, Char Bear, it's a solid 69.
Nice.
Nice.
This needs to be its own goddamn episode. Beats done. He's not going to be able to ask any questions.
No, he's not. He's done for it.
I got questions.
You do. I can't. I need a break. I'm still laughing at John Commando.
All right.
Broke me.
Okay. Hang on. I'll figure this
Pete,
out.
did you have a couple of questions you wanted to ask Sly?
Yeah, Petey, where's your questions at?
I gotta find one.
Are you shushing these guys alone?
Where are my questions?
I can't breathe.
Mr. Stallone, I
Yeah.
have a question for you.
Of course. Fire away. Oh, I did it again. I went for the turkey and I pulled it off, fellas.
So, I really loved your movie and it was a lot of fun. But I have a really interesting question for you. How was virtual sex with Sandy Bullock?
Oh, well, you know, a gentleman never tells. So let me tell you all about it. Oh my God, it was amazing. It really worked. The studio spent all this money on virtual sex. Our synapses, they were connected. And our mitochondria, they merged.
I heard they're the powerhouse.
They are. And you know what else is the powerhouse? These lips.
Mr. Rambo, Mr. Spartan, who are you?
He's Sly Stallone.
Stallone,
Come
Mr.
on, you
Stallone.
invited me onto your show.
Hey, I really enjoyed your acting. How did you like doing a full nude scene?
I don't
Because
know why people
I
haven't
liked
asked me
it.
to do a full scene sooner. It just makes sense. You know what? Most of the times, if you come over, I'm already naked. I answer the door. I give you a big hug. It's great.
So if I come over to your house, you will answer the door with your dong hanging out.
Oh yeah, full dong all the time.
I'll come over soon. So,
Oh,
but
you
here's
will, if you
here's
catch
another
my
great
drift.
question. So, what is your favorite commercial to sing?
It's a body, it's a desire, your desire. You know that one about the Head and Shoulders or whatever. The shampoo, you know. That's why I got such great luxurious hair. I'm your body, I'm your fetus, your desire.
I don't know.
Well, so while you were in cryogenic suspension,
Really cold. You know who I'm jealous of? The Austin Powers guy. He didn't have
Yeah.
to deal with that like I did. Also,
Yeah.
he got to pee for like 13 minutes. I didn't get that. They instantly made me go fight that guy.
how did you pee while you were in cryogenic stasis?
Oh, you just don't.
You don't?
Yeah, it's painful. You just
Everything is you were 30 years with a full bladder. I'm so sorry.
imagine holding in pee for 32 days in your pee hole.
32
now, times
days.
That, yeah, but then times that by 32 years in your pee hole.
Ow, ow.
Yeah,
That sounds
I
terrible.
know. That's why I was so angry.
That's why you came out so angry and wanted to kill the Simon Phoenix. Okay.
I'm still laughing at John Commando. God damn it.
What do you miss most about bungee jumping into a war zone?
There you go.
Let me tell you something I have never told anyone. I never use a stunt double. That's just not my thing. I'm a real guy.
Wow.
Terrified of rubber bands that are really big.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that. No, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
Big scary rubber band.
I do not blame you for.
Yeah, I mean, can you believe it? And everything was on fire. What's the deal with LA always being on fire? That one guy, he escaped it though.
All right. Well, I know we got you only for a small amount of time, and we're right at our time limit, Sly.
Well,
and I
hey, it
appreciate
was
you for
great. I
coming
had a
on.
really good time. I'm sorry that Nate was so quiet. He's a little starstruck, but it's okay.
We're used to it. He'll be all right. So,
Mr. Spartan, I hope we can have you back. And, if you want to come back permanently versus Nate, that'd be wonderful.
Hey, I could do a whole episode. It'd be great. Let me tell you.
You sound like you need to poop all the time.
No. Only that one time when I was cryogenically frozen for 32 years.
You had to poop all the time, yeah.
All right. Well, your agent is now waving at us from the side, so it looks like you've got
So it's time to go, fellas. You call me up when you do Copland. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, Copland, yes.
Well, that was fun, guys. That's not very often.
I am shocked you emailed him. It's amazing.
Well, I email everyone. It's just how many people actually answer the email
I don't
back.
think he's doing much right now, so it was great.
I think he's in between Tulsa King right now.
Yeah, I think so.
He's got another expendable coming up, I would imagine.
That is true. Then he's going to get real busy.
Or Samaritan 2 or some awful thing like that.
We got him at the right time, right for our 100th. He moved some things around, so we got him. So, and again, the disclaimer: any and all likenesses is totally on accident here. I did not mean for anything to sound remotely like Mr. Stallone. Anyway, just quick little legal disclaimers there.
I hope that was legal. I don't even know.
It's legal. TM it real quick.
Yeah, copyright. Yeah,
parody.
Guys, we are
way late. We are way late.
This is it. Like I said, this is a grande episode, but even we're pushing the limits. What's wrong, Nate?
I don't know. We need to get out of here.
We do.
You just need to give everyone the good word. Just end it now before it's too late.
Right, everybody.
If not, this podcast will self-destruct.
You know what? It's 100 times. You've heard me say it at least 100 other times. You know where to find us. You know what shows to listen to. Thank you for 100 years.
Thank you all.
I blow kisses to all of you.
Yeah, thank you for 100 episodes.
All right, Charlie, get us out here with the good word before it's too late.
Away. Blow this guy away.
Oh my God. We have a whole nother episode we could do with this, just covering the movie. We didn't cover the movie.
We didn't cover the movie
at all.
Forgive us. We didn't cover it.
We didn't know what we were doing. There was a lot of pressure.
There's a whole Pandora's box of assholery.
Look, we don't see you talking about Demolition Man trying to do it for your 100th episode.
Right?
Cut us some slack, damn it.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of
I can't wait for that to go away for the next episode, whatever the hell it is we're covering.
Who said I'm getting rid of it?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality standard.
I'm trying so hard.
I'm sweating.
Not all this is gold, but I'll keep going here. Oh, Charlie's gone.
Yeah, we lost Charlie completely.
It's all right.
Just keep going.
His foot said to keep going.
This is turning into missing in action all over again. Oh my God.
No, I'm formulating some, or don't. Oh, we're almost at 2 hours in this segment. Oh,
this
shit.
segment.
Maybe we should just cut this off. Take the best of the best out of this.
So first on our list for Copland. Thank you, Mr. Stallone.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Get an honor. I'm out.
Oh my God. I don't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do because it was so good. I'm like, I gotta ask good questions, and I was asking stupid questions the whole fucking time.
because fucking John Commando over there just this 2 questions in fucking crushed it, and we're dead. God damn it.
Well done, Nate.
Yep, thank you.
You're my bestie.
Perfect.